Hey guys, Chaos Shinobi here. This is a story where Naruto finds the Omnitrix at the age of 10. Watch Naruto save the world with the power of all aliens. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. Within the vast sea of darkness and stars there stood two beings. Two women. One with white hair and sundress barefoot with fair skin and pure blue eyes. The other with pitch black hair and cocktail dress and with tan skin and intense red eyes. You continue to run. To what? To where? The red-eyed woman asked. Why would I answer you? My pure opposite, she asked. You who kill. You who destroy. You who is evil. You who is darkness. Darkness laughed with pure joy as if wit-hired woman told a joke. Yes, because that is who you are. You who live. You who build. You who is good. You who is light. So we start. Our battle starts once more, Light said as she glowed with light so bright it looked like a new star had been born. It took the form of a sphere. Indeed, darkness agreed as the shadow started to coalesce around her and started to eat at the light around her as it took the form of a tetrahedron. The avatars just stood there. Then light and darkness start to attack each other and then nothing. No light. No darkness. Just nothing and then every star. Every planet. We start once more, both women say. Modern day soul system, outer space. To spaceships was flying thou the system firing at each other. One with a navy and green ship flying above, it looked alien and elegant. The other one is gray with some orange energy in it, it looked like something from the pits of hell, and this is the Chimran hammer. Chimran hammer. A dark figure is sitting on a throne with humanoid beings surrounding his on consoles, and in front of it is a screen with the navy and green ship. Lord Vilgax? One of the beings called to the dark figure, shall we continue firing? Vilgax turned to the one that spoke, showing that it had dark red eyes. Yes, shoot out the engines. Then draw them in. It's been for too long and I've come too far to be denied. No one can stop me from achieving my goal. Outer space. The Chimran hammer starts to gather energy in the front of it and shoots the other ship. Planet Earth, land of fire, Konoha. In the village Konoha, or Hidden Leaf Village, there was a blonde-haired, tan skin, blue eyes, and 6 whiskers like marks on his face, dressed in an orange jumpsuit. He is Naruto Uzumaki and he is currently being chased 10 by men and women in armor and masks, the Umbu Black Ops. But something was wrong. They had neon-colored hair. Get back here. An Umbu with tiger mask and orange hair with black stripes as he tried to catch him and turned to the others, pincer formation. Usagi, rabbit, Kiru, frog, Taka, hawk, Sapaita, spider. You go left. Kuma, bear, Shurshur, lion, Saru, monkey, Hebe, snake. You go right. Nico, cat. You and I are going, we'll keep going and make his think that you 8 have been called back, the tiger mask Umbu said. Sir Shurshur said as she had yellow and light brown hair. Yes. He's gone, Nico said as she is the only one that not had her hair dyed. And he had indeed had diapered, not there. Fuck, Tiger said. Konoha, Hokage Tower, Hokage's office. An old man was sitting behind a desk with so much paperwork on it, it could make it look like he was trying to build a tower of paperwork. This man was the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. He was alone in his office until there was an orange blur that soon revealed to be Naruto in front of him. So how was the test? The Hokage asked. They failed, Naruto said with a sad look on his face as he looked at the Hokage. I snuck into the Umbu hideout. I moved to Team Omicron and dyed the hair of 9 out of 10 of them. I see. How bad was it? The Hokage said with a sad smile on his face. Out of 10. 1 being extremely minor change and 10 being a major change. 20. This shocked the Hokage, and before he could speak the 10 Umbu appeared in the office and see both the Hokage and Naruto with a sad look on their faces, and before they could speak. Naruto, how long were you in the Umbu base? The Hokage asked with the Umbu looking confused. 35 minutes, Naruto said as the Umbu was starting to get it. How long did they chase you before you got bored? The Hokage asked as they started to feel it more and more. 1 hour, 45 minutes and 35 seconds. He said now the Umbu was hanging their heads. How bad is it? He asked. They are all arrogant that they think no one can get in without them noticing. It was out to kill or poison them. It would have been easy, Naruto said looking at them. but I can name 3 Umbu that have passed the test, Naruto said with a smile. Oh really? The Hokage said, raising their brow. Who? Nico, Iron, Dog, and Okami, Wolf? Naruto said, the reason Okami is always on edge when on duty. Iron always looks underneath to see if anything is there. And Nico is the one that found me before I could change her shampoo for dye. This shocked all the Umbu in the room. Tora, Tiger. I want all Umbu to start to fix all the problems that were shown today. Hiruzen Sarutobi said to him. The first start to train some sensors to be on watch in front of the Umbu headquarters. Have both Hyuga and Inuzuka with the guards. Yes sir, he said. Nico, you, Iron, and Okami have earned something. Me, my children, grandchild, my personal Umbu, and Naruto is going camping. I would like the 3 of you to join us, he said, and the rest of the Umbu just slumped because of the tales of the camping stories. Sir, is it okay if I invite my friends Kurinai Yuhi, Anko Mitarashi, Hana Inuzuka, and Tsum Inuzuka? She asked. That is fine, he said. 25 minutes from Konoha, the forest. Naruto made his tent and sat down to meditate as he then felt someone pull at his arm, and it was the grandson of the 3rd Hokage Konohamaru. Ni-san, the young boy asked. Yes, Kono, Naruto asked. Can you help me put my tent up? He asked as Naruto looked behind him as the adults were putting up their tents. All right, Naruto helps him. After a few hours, there was a fire going and the stories going, but Naruto decided to go for a walk. Nico, go with him, the fire shadow said as she got up to follow the small boy. Her 4 friends followed her. The first was a woman with dark purple hair, a long tan trench coat fishnet covering her body, and a dark orange skirt. She had fair skin and brown eyes. And this is Anko Mitarashi. The second was a woman with long black hair, a white battle dress with a red sleeve on her right arm and raping on both her hands. She had fair skin with crimson eyes, and this is Kurinai Yuhi. The next was she was wearing shorts and a chunin vest that she could not zip up. She also has 2 fang marks on her face, light brown hair, black eyes, and 3 hounds. They were Hana Inuzuka and the Haimaru triplets. The final woman was the tallest out of all 5 of them. She was in a full jonin clothing with black instead of blue. She also had the fang marks on her face with dark brown hair. Black eyes was Tsum Inuzuka, mother, to Hana Inuzuka, and like her daughter, she had fair skin. Alongside her was her dog partner Kuramaru. Outer space. The battle raged on as the Navy and Green ship was taking server damage and the Chimeran hammer was nearly on top of it. In the Navy and Green ship. This Xylene, I need help. Vilgax is after the Omnitrix. I repeat, Vilgax is after the Omnitrix, said a female voice, and then the sound of a saw blade was cutting down the door. A robot emerged from the broken door and it was destroyed by a green laser blast. Xylene, launch the Omnitrix and then escape. I will set the ship to self-destruct, a male voice told her. But Asmu. No, we need you and we need the Omnitrix, and soon the ship was starting to glow and flash red. Chimeran hammer. Get ready to shoot at the midsection of the ship, Vilgax said. Before they could shoot, 2 pods were shoots from the opposing ship. One was a stasis pod, the other was sphere. There it is, Vilgax said, pointing at the sphere actor. And before he could finish what he was saying, the opposing ship exploded. Earth, the forest, 25 minutes from Konoha. As Naruto and the 5 women were walking through the forest, while Naruto was walking, he saw a shooting star and it was heading for them. Get down! Naruto yelled at the 5 kunoichi as he falls to the floor, and so did they. It zooms over their head deep into the forest. Boom! The meteor boomed out the forest and the 6 of them ran to the crash zone, and there was a metallic roly-poly that looked like it was rolled up. What is it? Anko asked as they moved but ground under Naruto as he slides to the canter of the pit. You okay? The oldest of the ones here asked. Yeah, Naruto said, getting up, and slowly walked over to it, and it started to open its opening. He called over his shoulder as the 5 women got ready to attack. When it was fully open, in it was a red wristwatch with a red hourglass symbol in the middle, Ben 10 Alien Force Omnitrix. What's in it? Nico asked, drawing her katana out of its sheath. A watch, Naruto said, walking over to it, reaching out to grab it, and it jumped onto his wrist and he fell back trying to tear the watch off him as the 5 women joined. And it still would not come, but someone pressed the sides of it and a hologram of showing a humanoid being with a hood. Big chill. What the? Anko asked as she studied the hologram. Naruto twisted the dial and it changed to a humanoid that looked to be circuits over its body with one eye upgrade. Another turned a manta ray with arms and legs with 2 horns. Jet ray. He turned it one more time and this one showed a humanoid made of rock and fire, heat blast, and he was about to push it down but his hand was grabbed by Nico. We don't know what it does, she said to him. But it stuck to him, Anko said, pushing it down herself, and then a light engulfed Naruto, with the women shielding their eyes. Within the light, Naruto starting to grow molten rock over his body and clothes before his body burst into flames, and in the middle of his chest was a dial with our hourglass. And he yelled as the light faded, "Heat blast! OC heat blast!" Naruto! Nico yelled only to see this fire thing in front of her that yelled, "Heat blast! Where is Naruto?" She yelled at him. "It's me, Nico," he said, not realizing 3 things. 1. He was the same size as her. 2. He was a flaming being made of fire and molten rock. 3. His voice had changed. "You not Naruto, he was a human," Kuramaru said, growling at it. Heat Blast started to look at itself before it did the most rational thing someone would do in this situation, and that was He screamed and started to roll on the ground to put himself out. "Ask this thing, Naruto," Nico asked the others before a fire erupted as Naruto was still rolling around. "I have a way to see if this is Naruto," she said to the other women. "We have ramen." And as if it was lightning, Naruto stopped, sat up, and the flames made fox ears and tail. "I got this," the older Inuzuka said, going now Suetun. "Sueten no jutsu, water release, water bullet technique," she said, spitting out a large amount of water, putting out the fire. "Okay, let's get back to the Hokage to see if he knows what to do," she said as they walked back, making sure that Naruto does not make another forest fire. Hokage campsite. As they were sitting down eating, Nico walked out of the forest. "Nico, where is Naruto?" the Hokage asked. "Well, you see," she said, as Naruto and the others walked out of the forest. Naruto turned into that fire thing. "What?" said one of the Umbu in the camp. "What happened?" Hiruzen asked Naruto as he sat on a rock, and so they told him everything, from the pod, to the watch sticking to his wrist, to his turning into Heat Blast. "Ryu Dragon, Kame Turtle, find that pod and bring it here." The 2 dropped to their knee and jumped to it. When Naruto was sitting, he has seen that the fire dying, so he put his hand in the fire to make it bigger, as he brought his hand out and looked at it and tried to something with the fire. "Naruto, what are you doing?" Nico asked. "While I'm like this, I might see if I can control fire," he said as a fireball was made in his hand, and using all his will, the fireball was starting to change into a serpentine dragon that wrapped around his arm before a beeping noise started to sound as the hourglass started to flash between red and blue before a blue flash of light engulfed him, and he was now one again human. Chimeran Hammer. The Chimeran Hammer was surrounded by water, in a deep ocean at the border of the lands of fire and water. Inside the ship was a mangled mode inside a tube with robots trying to put it back together. "WH," the body said in the broken voice of Vilgax. "Lord Vilgax, you're awake," he heard thou the tube. The voice was distorted because of the liquid that he was in, "Sir. Your body was severely damaged. He need to augment some cybernetics into you to heal you," the voice said as it started to get more clear each time. "Where is the Omnitrix?" he asked. "Sir, it is 45 miles from us," the drone said. "Send some drones, 2 small, 1 large," he said before falling into a slumber. Outside the ship, a hatch opened and 2 robots flew out, and a larger one dose as well, but it was slower than the other one. Hokage campsite. The 2 Umbu had returned with the pod, with the Hokage examining it and Naruto still trying to take off the watch, and the hourglass was now red once again. "Nisan, can you turn into something else?" Konohamaru asked as he looked at the watch. "Now, Kono," Naruto started saying before the Hokage turned to him. "I would like to see if you have other forms with that watch," he said, and Naruto just nodded and activated it, showing Heat Blast. He turned the dial to show a dog, and so he showed the Hokage and then pressed on the dial and then the flash of light. Naruto's body started to glow orange fur that starts to cover his entire. He grows gills on both sides of his head and grows nails. With the dial of the watch on armor plated on his arm, "OC Wildmutt. Wildmutt," he roared. When the light died down, it showed Naruto in his new form. "Wildmutt, huh, not a bad name," Sum said, looking at the new form, and Naruto turns to her to show that he is blind, but he can see thou sound and smell. He then turns his head to the side and found 2 large discs flying at them. "Roar," Naruto roared out. Sum and Hana looked at what he was seeing. "What is that?" Kurenai said, seeing what they were seeing. They unfold into robots, Ben 10 Vilgax drones, and guns are folded out, with Naruto growling at them, standing in front of Konohamaru defending him. Omnitrix. Found. They said, charging up, and before they could fire, Naruto jumped at them and cuts the gun off one of them while riding it. Nico jumped at them, cutting at them, joining Naruto on the drone, but it shacks them off, but it blows up because of the cuts to it. We need a plan, the Hokage said, getting ready to summon Enma as Naruto gets up, and then he gets an idea and goes over to Naruto and slaps the dial, and then Naruto is engulfed in a flash of light, replacing him with a moth-like human with the wings that fold up into a cloak. Alien force, big chill. Big chill, he yells out, and before the drone could shoot at him, he flew up into the air and flew thou him, turning it into ice. Okay, how I did do that, Naruto said as his wings folded back around him. I would say instinct, the Hokage said. Then, before he could examine this new form of Naruto, a bigger pod dropped down and unfolded into a 3-foot robot. Subject, Necrophrygian, it said, looking at Naruto before raising an arm and started shooting at him. So he started to fly around, giving the ninja a target. Katan, Genkyu, fire release, great blaze ball. Ryu called out, breathing out a massive fireball. Futon, Kiryu Ranbu, wind release, air current, wild dance, said the son of the third, held out his palm, shooting out a large gust of wind. Reizo, Ikazuchi no Udage, lightning burial, banquet of lightning. Nico said, stabbing their sword into the ground, releasing lightning bolts that merge with the fireball and wind blast to make a massive lightning fireball, and when it hits it explodes. They wait for the smoke to clear, and it shows that the robot is signed, and before it could attack, Naruto starts to think. Gigi did, and I turned into Big Chill, so let's try it. And when he pressed the dial, he turns into a large bipedal dinosaur that roared his name, Humongouser, and then he started to grow as his armor started to bulk up. And then he started to wail on the robot, but what they didn't know was that this was being filmed by the robot and be sent to the ones that sent it. Naruto ripped off its arm and started using it as a club to beat it. As it raised its second arm, Naruto grabbed that one and uses its claw, so stab it in the dead, destroying it. Chimran hammer. Back in the ship, Vilgax was watching how his drones were being destroyed. Some worm has the Omnitrix. I will destroy them and their weak village, he said, getting angrier and angrier, and the video looped. I swear I will destroy this worm, kept the Omnitrix away from me. Hokage campsite. I think it's, Naruto started saying before beep, 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 and he turns back to formal dead, he finishes. Omnitrix, the third, said, that's what it called, the watch. We need to know more, but I do know one thing, Naruto said. What is that? Anko asked him as he looks to the sky at the start. We're not alone. Earth, land of fire, Konoha. It had been not that long ago since the robots had crashed, but Naruto was still confused with what happened. Gigi, what do you make of this? Naruto asked the Hokage as he looked. Make of what? He asked the young boy. Me turning into aliens, robots attacking, someone out there trying to get this thing, the Omnitrix, on my wrist? Naruto said, still looking out the window before turning to the Hokage. Any and all, take your pick. Well, to you turning into aliens, well, you will need some training on what to do. The robots, well, that depends, he said. On what? Naruto asked. If we can see if we could recreate them or integrate their weapons to defend the village. And for your last question, we find them, interrogate them, and then take them out, the Hokage said. Border of lands of fire and water, seafloor, Chimran hammer. The drones were walking around trying to both fix their master and fix the hammer. Lord Vilgax, what do we do now? A drone asked. Where is the nearest land? His voice boomed. The drone zoomed in on the map Earth, and a red dot was flashing, and part of the land was connected to the area. Then the Omnitrix Wilder was in. This is it, sir. It is called the land of, the drone was saying before sparking and then continuing. The land of noodles. Send out ZWLB-01 to get and control someone to use it and then attack this Konoha. The mangled alien said. Yes, sir. Chimran Hammer Robot Bay. In the bay was a large number of the pod, and one opened. A robotic silver tiger fell out of the seed. Its eyes glowed an eerie yellow before sting off. Land of Fire, Konoha Training Ground 30. Naruto with some other ninja was walking around and getting Naruto to be trained in using the Omnitrix. Okay, Naruto, turn into the first alien you turned into, the Hokage ordered. He nodded and activated the Omnitrix and turned to Heat Blast and pressed it down. And after a flash of light, Naruto has now a flaming, molten rock alien, and with a shout of, Heat Blast. Why you yell? asked a man with his hair looking like a pineapple. He had tan skin, dark eyes, and a goatee. He had 2 scars on the right side of his face. This man is the Jounin commander Shikaku Nara. I think that my name changes? He said / asked when he started to walk around. So what can you do? Shikaku Nara asked. From what I now control fire, and I think that I can absorb fire, Naruto said. Then Ketan, Gokaku no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique, called out the Hokage as he breathed out a ball of fire at Naruto. After a few seconds, the flames were being sucked into Naruto. Land of Noodles. ZWLB-01 was staking a caravan to find the perfect host, and after a few more minutes of staking it found its prey. She has silver and gray hair what goes up into cat-like ears. She has green eyes with large frame glasses. As she walked away from the caravan, it pounces. Ah, her screamed. She walked out of the forest. She now had yellow eyes. Silver armor going up to her arm. Within her hand was a sword with ZWLB-01 tiger body being made into the sword. Must find Omnitrix, the girl said in a dead tone, before disappearing in a lightning bolt. Land of Fire, Konoha Training Ground 30. Naruto was back into the third alien that turned into the moth-like humanoid Big Chill. As he was flying around, he was getting used to it, and when he was about to change again, his danger senses went off and turned intangible so that a bolt of lightning would not hurt him. They all turned to the bolt of lightning, and it turned into a young girl. Who are you? Asked an Umbu with a dragon mask. I am ZWLB-01, and I'm here for the... She was saying before Naruto phased though her freezing ger solid. You talk to Muck. So cool off, Naruto said, solidifying, but then her form started to vibrate. Then lightning spewed from the blade and destroyed the ice. Okay, that's cool, Naruto said, then a beeping noise before a flash, and he was human once more. Oh sure, he was saying before dodging arcs of lightning flying at him. Naru. The Hokage started, but then seen Naruto's eyes, and for a split second had rings in them he before disappearing. So that is what he meant. Hokage Tower, Konoha, 10 years ago, March 2nd. Sitting in the Hokage office was an older version of Naruto, but without the whiskers. This is Minato Namake's 4th Hokage. Minato, I hear you having a child. A younger, the 3rd Hokage said. Yes, I'm happy jet sad, he said, looking at the older Hokage. This shocked the older man. Why is that, he asked. When they're born, I hope that my blood doesn't mess with them, Minato said. How would it? Hiruzen asked. Uzumaki clan has the ultimate Kekai Genkai, the eyes of the Sage of Six Paths, the Rinnegan, and if my blood messes with the blood, it could awaken and seal over and over again, and it could possibly kill them, Minato said. Present day. Naruto was dodging the lightning arcs with his eyes still awaken and sealing. And as he was going to aid his honorary grandson and summoned his partner Enma. Sarutobi, what is it you need, he asked. Transform. We are aiding my grandson, the Hokage said with a new fire in his eyes and a will Enma had not seen in a long time. All right, Henge, Kongonioi, transformation, adamantine staff, he called out as he transformed into a large staff. And soon he joins the fray. Gigi, don't hurt the girl, go for the sword, Naruto called for him as his eyes still going through their cycle. And then they stopped. And he started to fly thou hand seals. Futon, Rankuden, wind release, drilling air bullet. Naruto shot out a massive orb of air that was flying at the girl. It had knocked back the girl and, with Naruto going thou more hand seals. Raitun, John, lightning release, false darkness, spitting out a spear of lightning at the sword. Naruto started going through more seals, Doton, Yomi Numa, earth release, swamp of the underworld, he said, slamming the ground, making a thick and sticky mud. The 3rd Hokage started to try and separate the sword from the girl as the dragon-masked Umbu moves in as well with Shikaku Nara, trying to make a plan. Naruto, why attack the sword, not the girl? The Nara asked. The lightning came from the sword, not her, he said, going through more hand seals and stopped at the seal of the bird. Suetun, Suryuden no Jutsu, water release, water dragon bullet technique. He drew the water from the air itself to make a massive Eastern-style dragon. It starts to fly at the girl. but she cuts it in two with this blade and called Sandakiba, Thunderfang, as she released an arc of lightning at the four ninjas. Ketan, Kitsunabi, fire release, Foxfire. Naruto called as 9 flames appeared in front of him, and he thrusts his hand out with all 9 flames fly out at the girl, and the Omnitrix turned from blue back to red. Alright, Naruto turns to the hologram of Humangaser and slams down on it, and like in every universe that has an Omnitrix, it does not give a flying fuck what its user wants. So Naruto starts gaining circuit-like lines begin to run over his body. His skin starts to turn black with a red stomach, and his eyes merge into one circle. And this forms yells in a synthesized voice upgrade. Heroes united but red instead of green. He blinked his one eye and looked over his body and said the one thing on his mind, fuck. As the girl was going to attack, Naruto shot out a red beam from his eye and kept walking forward. Naruto, what are you doing? The Hokage asked. Naruto jumped at the girl and started to possess the sword as it turns black with red circuits running over it, and the blade began to let the girl go. Mind of ZWLB-01. Human Naruto was floating in a wide-open space before it takes the form of a large face with crimson eyes. A child. It says the wielder of the most powerful weapon in the universe is in the hands of a child. And what do? You save. Its eyes zone in on him. I will take it from you, and I will destroy everything you love. Naruto was thrown out of its mind. Chimeran Hammer. Wipe the mind of ZWLB-01, Vilgax called out. Sir, the drone said, and it did as it asked. Send out the others, the evil mastermind said. Chimeran Hammer Robot Bay. 11 pods open and they all set out throughout the world. Land of Fire Root Base. A hovering arch was flying towards its host, not knowing it was being tracked. Land of Demons. A chimera was flying overhead and found the target it was looking for. Land of Wolves. A 2-headed eagle was flying over and then dive-bombed to a human. Land of Stone. A golden wolf was hunting someone before lunging. Land of Forests. A lion was running through the deep forest and then striking. Land of Flames. A red bird was flying before diving. Land of Fire, Capital City. A horse was galloping then jumped at its target. Border of Lands of Fire and Waterfall. A pair of wings was flying before getting shot down. Land of Waves. A serpentine dragon was flying. It found a small man and struck at him. Land of Sea. A unicorn was running through the fields and with its horn glistening, and it finds its user. Sea of Orcus, Land of Sharks. A tortoise was swimming then zooming in of a diver. Chimeran Hammer. Lord Vilgax, the weapons have found their users. A drone said. Evil laughter erupted from him. Booming from him, good. This is good. Land of Fire, Konoha Training Ground 30. Naruto was still in the sword getting some information while the girl was knocked out from it and get out of the sword and beep, 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 and then after a flash of light Naruto was human. Gigi. I got some info from this sword, Naruto said, taking the sword from the girl. The thing in charge wiped its memory on where it came from. Did you get anything from it? Shikaku Nara asked. Yes, but it's confusing, Naruto said. What isn't? Well, I have blueprints, star maps, planet names, alien race names, Naruto said, holding a USB. How'd you get that? Ryu asked. I made it with upgrade out of some of ZWLB-01's pieces, Naruto said, looking at it, and then they heard a groan. Where am I? She asked. Konoha, Naruto said. What's the last thing you remember? The Hokage asked the young girl. Well, I was with the caravan, I went to get a bit of water, then I was attacked by a metal tiger attacked me, was what she said. You mean this tiger, Naruto said, stabbing the sword into the ground as it became a tiger once more. And the girl started to back up. Don't worry. The evil in it has been destroyed, Naruto said to the girl. It has? The girl asked with her voice being shaky. Yes, Naruto said, making the girl calm down. What's your name? He asked. Kathy Catherine, she said, looking at the tiger that had possessed her. What is that? As she pointed at it. A form of a living weapon. It's literally not from this world, Naruto said. Then he turned to her. Its weapon name is ZWLB. It has chosen you as its wielder, its master, its owner, Naruto said. Why me? The girl asked. Only you can answer that, Naruto said. The tiger walked over to her and sat on its haunches. They looked into each other's eyes, and the girl found the answer. I'm a free spirit, is what she said. The Hokage smiled and then got a serious look on his face. Kathy, what is it you want to do? He asked her. She was thinking, and her new partner nudged her shoulder. Can I join your village and be a ninja? She asked the Hokage. He nodded and called over to Ryu. Take her over to my office and wait for me there, he told the dragon-masked Umbu. Sir, he saluted before holding on to both Kathy and her tiger and used Shunshin, body flicker, to the Hokage's office. Naruto, those jutsu. He started. I don't know, 1 minute I'm thinking I need help, then I get 5 jutsu and their hand seals. They just fly into my mind on how to use it and how to do it. I see, then Naruto, have to tell you that I have the QB sealed with me. I know, Naruto said to the old man. How did you find out? The Nara asked. Simple. First, you have my birthday on October 10th. Then what people around my age are told is that Lord Fourth killed the QB, but you can't kill chakra, and even if he did, it would take 9 years for it to be reborn. So the next best thing to do is seal it in a newborn baby, Naruto said, looking at the Jounin commander. And finally, the hate that I have from the villagers itself points to it. Naruto said, then turned to the Hokage, but I do have one question. Why me? And don't lie. I can tell a lie from the truth. If I tell you, it would be too dangerous, the Hokage said. I'm already in danger because of this, Naruto pointed at the Omnitrix. He's right, Shikaku Nara said, butting in. We all deserve to now. The old man looked at Naruto and Shikaku and sagged. You're right. Both of you are right. Naruto, what I tell you today, I will tell the village tomorrow, he said before taking in a deep breath. Your father's name is Minato Namikaze, son of my students Jiraiya Namikaze and Tsunade Senju. Your mother is Kushina Uzumaki, Queen of the Whirlpools, a title that you now own, he said, socking both of them with Naruto fainting. Deep space. A massive orb was flying through space, and then it just stopped and turned in the direction of the earth. He will help us both, a gentle voice said, as a beam of light shot out of it, and it was heading for one destination. One person to hold her light, Naruto Uzumaki. Planet Earth, land of fire, Konoha. After Naruto awoke of being told him about his father, and he was the 4th Hokage, the Yellow Flash, the only man with the on-site flea order, Minato Namikaze, son of Toad and Slug Sannin, while his mother, Kushina Uzumaki, Queen of the Whirlpools, daughter of Daisuke Uzumaki, the 3rd Uzukage, and Nakami Uzumaki, the dark-bladed queen. Naruto laid on his bed and just stared at the ceiling. What do I do? Naruto asked the emptiness, hoping for an answer, either the Quibi or the Omnitrix. But neither spoke. And he shut his eyes. Deep Space Soul System, Nessus. A beam of light flies over a planet with is a mix of both machine and plant. A human-sized robot with one red. It had a white fluid in their stomach, and slowly more and more of Theses looked up at this. Earth, Konoha, Naruto's apartment. Naruto was eating some breakfast ramen, and his eyes moved to a package on the table that an Umbu had brought him not that long ago. After he started to think about what it was, he decided to open it. Inside was a Haori, a crimson Haori with black flames at the bottom. Deep Space Soul System, Moon of Satan, Titan. The light beam flies through the sky, the seas of Titan, a gigantic worm-like being emerged from the water and looked upon it. Earth, Konoha, Naruto's apartment. Naruto was showering, getting ready for bed, his mind still drifting back to his new Haori. And how he looked with it on. He was now even more confused. What is he to do? Where does he go from here? Deep Space Soul System, Asteroid Belt, the Reef. As the light passed overhead, a woman on a throne. She had white hair, blue skin, and glowing blue eyes. MMM, said mused as she watched the light fly. Earth, Konoha, Naruto's apartment. Naruto now into him PJs and went down to for a rest and slowly drifted to sleep. Deep Space Soul System, Mars. As the light zoomed past within Mars, a gigantic worm rose from the sand and looked upon it in pure, unbridled hatred. You, said. Deep Space Soul System, Moon. The light shined over the moon, and as it passed over, screeching starting to erupt from it as a demonic creature walked out and stared at it before turning around. Earth, Konoha, Naruto's apartment. Naruto was fast asleep in his bed and alone in his apartment. Then that beam of light appeared in his room, taking the form on a feminine figure. So young, yet so needed, she said, brushing some of his hair out of his face like a mother would do, and then she started to fade into him. Naruto's dream. Naruto was having the same dream that he has had since he has had the Omnitrix. It is neither good nor bad dream. It has him standing in a thick mist, and surrounding him was his alien forms and shadowed forms. Then stood amused his alien forms was numerous versions of him. One with purple eyes with rings in it, and then the purple turned to red, and 9 tome appeared in it. The next was glowing in golden flames with his seal visible, with his whiskers as thick black lines and his eyes red and slit. The next had 9 black orbs floating, being him in a circle, rectangular eyes, hair made of a golden shaka, with his Haori is made of the same golden chakra, with a full-body black jumpsuit. The Fouth has a pure black dado in his hands, while behind him was a black-haired teenager, with a long black overcoat. His face held no emotion. Another had a silver and blue bow in his hands. And another has a massive white bipedal wolf with what looks to be veins of fire and eyes with burning red eyes. Yet another with 6 small beings flying around him, and this one had a smile of his face. Another held 2 metallic cylinders, and then one spouted a red blade, and the other had a blue one. Another sat upon a large black widow. Another is flanked by creatures, not aliens but monsters, and he held a cocky smile. Yet another wore a glove on his left hand, and the glove emitted some power that we had never felt. One turned into a giant black and orange reptile. One sat upon a large lion-like machine, with a dragon-type machine was by that one. The next one had an orange flame atop his head, with a look of a peace on his face. Another sat upon a small black dragon, and it had green eyes. Another had a magic circle beneath his feet with a sharp look in his eyes. One had a mask made of bone that looked like a demon with red markings. The next one had white horns on his head with a black katana. One had an armor made of bones with a small sword on her back. Another had a large ring that hung from his neck. One held a mark of a dragon's head on his arm. One was holding a flaming hammer with an eagle. The one next to him had a sizable flaming maul. Another has a shield made of some purple energy. The next one had a purple bubble around him. The next had fists of pure lightning crackling around them. The one after him bathed in the same lightning energy that was crackling around his entire body. Another had a hot knife that he was flicking. And the one to that's right held a flaming thing in his hands. One had a fan of lightning knives, and the one next to him a lightning staff. Another one held a bow, but this one's bow, it was formed out of the same purple energy of the ones with the shield and bubble. And another held twin blades made of the same energy. One was holding a flaming sword, and another in a well of light. The next ones were floating, they were split into 2 groups. The first group had lightning energy flowing around them. One had a ball of lightning, and the other one had lightning flowing from his hands. The others had purple every. One of them had a massive orb of it in front of them. The other is realizing energy was be chaotic, like it was exploding. And that was only a small amount of versions of, and they all said in one mighty voice, "Be the bringer of peace. They all need you." And that usually is where the dream ends, but this time the fog rose to swirl around him, and he woke up. He woke up in a field of grass with a sakura tree next to him. "What the?" he said, looking around. He saw that the grass stretched far, but there were a few things in there. First, there was a giant lake that was a large island with trees making a barrier from something. The second thing was the teenager that was with that version of him leaning against the tree looking at him. Third, was a bone-white demon, with that same demonic mask wearing a sizable black shahakusho with red lining with black hakama. Third, curled up and asleep was that wolf with fire and ice veins. Fourth, in the tree was those tiny things. Fifth and finally, there was a massive sphere. It was like a small moon. "What is that?" Naruto asked, looking at the sphere. "We don't know," the teenager said, as Naruto turned to him. "Your mindscape was a sewer now thou," he said, looking around. "That would be my doing," a female voice said, and all turned to the sound, and they saw there was a woman that looked in her 20s. She has snow-white hair with a white kimono, but the sash was orange, purple, and blue. Eyes of the same 3 colors swirling, with beautiful pale skin. Her bust was at eye cup, Hinata Hyuga's breast size. "Who are you?" the demon asked, and his voice was mine but distorted. "Me. I'm life itself. I'm the mother to all the stars, planets, and children. I am the home of many." She was sighing, walking past Naruto and the others standing before them in front of the massive sphere. "I am peace. I am the order. I am all that is good. I'm the light, but I am called the traveler," she said. This had shocked all of them. None knew what to say. "Well, traveler, what is it you want?" Naruto had asked her, with the others turning to look at her, and now with the now awake Ice and Fire Wolf also gazing at her. Seeing if they would like her answer, she thought over what she would say. "I want all fighting to end," she said, looking depressed, gazing at them. "I have been fighting for so long." She had told them, looking for older than she looked, and it looked like she was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, with tears rolling down her eyes. "I have been fighting since the start of time, and they say I will continue to fight till the end of time, and then the cycle will start once more, and then it would continue to happen." Her answer shocked them, all of the others. No one knew what to say, but Naruto walked forward and hugged her. "It's okay. It's okay," he said over and over so that she could get it out of her system. Thank you," she said with her voice strained from the crying. "Why are you in me?" he asked and the demon burst out in laughter. "I need champions, but since my body is in transit, I had to send my soul out, and you are the only one that is worthy of being my host," she had said, then put her hand on his chest. "Normally when I give someone my light, and they are either one of 3 classes, they are called Titan, Warlock, and Hunter, but you can use all 3 classes. And I will give you a gift that all my chosen to have and will continue have," she said, holding her hand out, and as a ball of light formed them started to take the form a small machine. It hovered in her palm. It had black and red armor with and a single blue eye, armory forged ghost shell. "I think she will do. She is a ghost," she said as the ghost floated over to Naruto. "Hey there," it said in a voice that made something mad. "Kushina, where are you so that I can RIP you to shreds?" a voice yelled out from behind the trees on the island. "Is that?" Naruto asked the teenager. "The QB, yes, it is," he said to his host. As the ghost hovered over to her partner, the traveler got an idea. "It's time for you to be whole and the true Jinchuriki of the QB," she said as she started to move her hands in a rotating movement as 2 portals opened. Shinigami Belly. Floating in the belly of the death god was the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze, and from the seal that is on him, chakra starts Tobe extracted from of him, and it starts the form of a 9-tailed fox from his seal. The fox moves his head, and a portal opens, and it flows thou it. Land of Fire, Fire Temple. A young boy is laying on a bed as a portal opens above him, and it starts to draw out dark chakra. Naruto's mindscape. Out of the 2 portals, chakra comes out of the mirrors into one and flies to the island where they are flies thou the trees, and then the angry voice of the QB just stops. "Now that he is whole," the being of light said before turns to Naruto. "Now to make you whole," she said as she once more placed her hand on his chest, and then he felt both powerful and weak, and what he did not know is that he started gaining crimson stripes in his hair and the tips of his hair turned crimson. Well, what was that?" he asked her. "I have awoken your Uzumaki blood," she had said. With Naruto getting his answer, he turned to the others that are in his mind. "Who are you lot then?" Naruto asked. "I'm your Zanpakuto Z #A #N #G #E #T #S #U #," he said with his name turning to static. "I'm sorry, what's your name again?" Naruto has asked the Zanpakuto spirit. "You can't hire my name is because of you not ready," he said as he leaned against the Sakura tree. "I'm you, Inner Hollow Grand Diablo," the devil said, looking at him. "Hi, Diablo. It's nice to meet you." "You as well," King Gran said, moving to sleep by the lake. "The name's Wolf Screecher, and I'm you doll," the wolf said, looking at him. "Nice you meet you," Naruto said, moving over to scratch the wolf behind his ears. The small thing floated down to show that they were fairies and they all are wearing kimonos. One had a pink kimono with red armor over her. "Hi, my name is Bara." One had a gray kimono with white armor over him. "Sup. Toj is the name." The next to him is a male in purple kimono with blue armor over him. Hinajuku is my name, sir. The next one W is in a blue kimono, she has pink armor. Hi, I'm Lily. The next one is male with a red kimono with yellow armor. I'm Tsuda. The last one had a black kimono, and he had red and black armor. Tsubaki. That's my name. It's nice to meet all of you, he said to the fairies, and just as he was about to leave, Kurama, a voice boomed out from the island, and everyone's heads turned to the island. They all moved to the lake, and a bridge rose out of the water to the island and to the trees. And when they get there, they see the Kyuubi just sitting there. What? The traveler asked. My name, Kurama, that's my name, he had said, looking at them. No one talked. Then the ghost floated over and said, Hi. Your voice is the same as my second Jinariki partner's mother, Kushina Uzumaki, Kurama said, looking over to his host. Your mother and I was somewhat friends. I want to let you know that I would never have attacked Konoha without someone controlling me, he said, looking at the young Uzumaki. Naruto then let this information flow into him. Anachiha, he said after a few moments of silence. Anachiha did this. Naruto noted this. Yes, he seemed familiar to me, not Madara, but familiar, he said, looking at the lot that stood in front of him. I have to tell Gigi about this, Naruto said, getting nods from everyone. The next day, Naruto's apartment. As Naruto jumped out, Mindscape, he got out of his PJs and into his jumpsuit and new Haori and activated the Omnitrix and turned to his ice moth and slammed it down. Naruto's body starts to get taller, and his feet turn to the toad foot. His eyes turn buggy and sprouts large wing that then folds around him, making a cloak. Big chill, he yelled. You like the new look, the being of light said. Confused, Naruto looked in a mirror and could see that at the bottom on Big Chill's cloak is the flame design. Naruto just chuckled and flew to the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. The third was talking to a Chunin. Irika, I'm going to be taking Naruto for a while for him to learn about his clan, the Sarutobi said. Okay, Lord Hokage, but when will Naruto be back with his year group? Irika asked. In about a year. And with that, the Chunin left the room, and Naruto solidified. Gigi, I have something to tell you, Naruto said. And so Naruto relayed everything that he had lured to the Hokage. Not Madara, he said. He asked, earning a nod from the Uzumaki prince. Then that would only be about 19 Uchiha. Has he got anything else? Male. 14 years of age. Sorry, Kit, that all, Kurama said to his host. Well, Kurama said male and around 14, Naruto said. That goes from 19 to 5 and 2 Kia, the Hokage said after a few seconds of silence. Has he got a description, any defining markings, he asked. A mask, one eye hole. His right eye, Naruto said, gazing into nothing. Kit, how did you know? The fox asked. My first memory is looking up at him, and he has a kunai at me, Naruto said, shocking everyone in the room and his mind. That got the Hokage thinking, hearing the same thing from Izumi Uchiha. Naruto, the Hokage is worthy, hold out your hand, the traveler said, and as he did, a similar ball of light stock form a ghost, but not his ghost. This one's shell looked like the sun, Sajira. The ghost flew over to the Hokage and said her first words. Eyes up, ninja, as she shined with light and enveloped the Hokage, and when it died down, his youth had returned to him as the ghost floated by him, and he looked at Naruto for an explanation. You're chosen to use the light? Naruto said to the man as Naruto brought out his ghost. This is my ghost Kushina, Naruto said. As the fire shadow looked at his ghost, he thought only one name, Sajira. Planet Earth, Land of Fire, Konoha. After Naruto and Hiruzen talked but that rogue Uchiha, they and their ghosts were sitting in the Hokage's office, and they were waiting for the Umbu to gather all the villagers. So what do we know? Sajira asked her partner. Well, we first have a rogue Uchiha. One that we thought was dead, the Hokage said to her. Then we have the fact that he could find where I was being born, Naruto added. And let's not forget that he controlled Kurama and killed my namesake Naruto's mother and his father. Kushina said, her eye then brightened. Was there any Umbu alive in with Naruto's birth? She asked the Hokage. I think. He turned to his ghost. Sajira, can you get a blue scroll on the shelf? It's labeled. He asked her as she flew over to it and got them. Hiruzen, there are 19 of them, said, shocking everyone in the room. What? The now 20-year-old Hokage asked. That can't be. Unless, he said, looking around the room with Naruto doing the same thing, and they both landed on one spot. Kit, where you're looking is something without emotion, Kurama said, confused, and that got everyone inside Naruto's mind confused. Kit, we need to get to it, Kurama said. My powers you're not ready for, Wolf Screecher said. When you learn my name, then you can start to use my power, his Zanpakuto said. The 3 parts of my power is not a ready yet, his Hollow said. You need to learn to summon us before we can help you, Tsubaki said, referring to him and the fairies. You haven't gathered enough light yet, the traveler said. And until you handle your dark side, you can't use my power, the fox said to him, and so Naruto turned to the Hokage and shook his head as if saying that he got nothing. But that was unneeded as a shadow moved to lock to the spot. The shadow stood connected to an umbu with a rabbit mask. Thank you, Shinka, dear, the Hokage said, a deer-masked umbu. The one that is trapped within the shadow was an umbu wearing a full body cloak, and they were wearing a mask with green markings. So it's you? The Hokage said, looking at the shadow-bound umbu. Is Danzo hoping to assassinate me? He said, not expecting an answer from the umbu because of his old friend Danzo is known to make his umbu to never break under interrogation. They were root. Well, what do we do with you? Shinka said before the root slumped and fell. Sajira flew over to the body and scanned it. Dead, she said, and her voice held anger. Why throw away for someone like him? She asked. Sajira? The Sandame asked. I scanned his memory, and I could only get a few things from him, she said. His mission was to spy on you to see if there was anything that could get you out of office. There was another root here, but that one reported to this. This monster that you have your youth back, Sajira told her partner. I see, the fire shadow said, looking over the village and seeing that everyone has gathered. Sandame-sama, the villagers have been gathered. An umbu with eagle mask. Thank you, Taka, he told him. Atop the Hokage mansion. Naruto and Hiruzen stood at the top with elders stood not that far from him. Hiru, the only female elder, was saying before shutting up, see her old teammate young once more. How? An elderly man asked. I will tell you in a meeting later, Hiruzen said. That got the elders nodding. As he looked out and seen all of the people of Konoha, and so he walked forward to address them. Great people of Konoha, I have come today to tell you that we have all done a great travesty to the previous Hokage. From Lord 4th. All the back to Lord 1st and Lady 2nd, that's right. The 3rd said as he looks at his people, and his words shocked them and the elders. With Lord 1st he wanted all the village to love their Jinchuriki like they were their partner, child, grandchild, friend. But what have you done? Shunned him on for no reason. Lady 2nd said all ninja sold answer to their Kage and train the next generation without prejudice. And some of the Chunin throwing that in her face. He said, getting angrier and angrier with each word. But you all have been throwing shit upon Lord Fouth. And when he said that, wings of spectral fire erupted from his back and he floated in the air. He's a warlock, the embodiment of light said. The people of Konoha was not expecting this when they were summoned, and they have never seen him this angry before. When the wings sprouted from his back, he looked like a raging angle come down to smite them with Kami's wrath, and his former teammates were even more frightened because this was not the professor, nor the savage Saru that Lady Seconds had called him. This was the Kami no Shinobi. And this frightened them because he will take his powers back from them and Ibiki will have fun breaking those who fall from his grace. You spat on his hope for the Jinchuriki to be seen a hero, and you spat on him as you treated his son like a monster. The Hiruzen Sarutobi said, shocking the village now realizing what they were doing. Still, they thought that they showed many people as monsters, so who was it? You thought that if you killed him, it would please his father, the elders clicked. With beating him, he would grive you grace, all the ninja clicked. Throwing him out of class so he would be killed. So that the Fouth's smile would be on you once more, the students clicked. Starving him, chasing him from stores, he would throw you a party in the afterlife. He scoffed as the rest of the village clicked. His son's name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. He is the prince of the land of whirlpools and Jinchuriki of the Kyubi. He is the true heir to the village, he said. Hiruzen, how is he the true heir? An old man with bandages over his face and arm. He is Danzo. For those who did not know, Minato was the son of my students Jiraiya Namikaze and Tsunade Senju. That makes Naruto the great-great-grandchild of the first Hokage. He then turned to Naruto loud enough for the village to hear, "Naruto, would you like to speak?" The young prince walked forward to look over the village, and with his new look, he looked like his father, but that brought more shame on them. "Yo," Naruto said, not knowing what to say. "Nice weather we're having." He tried to lighten the mood. It did not work. "Naruto-sama, we're sorry," an elderly man yelled. From what it looked like, he was the owner of the restaurant The Red Dragon. "Please forgive us," a woman in her 20s yelled, and Naruto could tell that she was the owner of the orphanage that kicked him out at the age of 4. And more of theirs keep coming over and over, people begging for forgiveness from him. "All right, stop," Naruto said in a voice that held both love and strength, firm but forceful. The voice of the first, second, and fourth Hokage. The voice of a leader. "Now I know why you did this, so I can forgive you, but I will not forget," he said as his gaze swept over the crowd, and some swear that when his gaze was on them, they felt strong, like he was a wall of hope that protected them, and a mighty sword that cut down all that would hurt them. "Now, mighty people of Konoha, rise." All those that fell to their knees suddenly felt empowered and rose. Those that were slouching stood tall. "We are the fire." "Those words," the Hokage said, "that defends the great tree of Konoha," Naruto continued, "are the words of the first." He thought at Naruto was overlapped with his father and great-great-grandfather. Konoha Council Room. It was pure chaos with screaming from all over the room, with daemons, and why weren't they told? "You done?" the Hokage asked. "Sandaime, why weren't we told?" Shikaku asked. "The main reason, trying to gain power," he said. "Now if Naruto were adopted by the Sei, Nara clan, they would have more say in the village than other clans," he told them, then he sighed. Looking at the council, he and their children behind them, he decided to be honest. "Now I have to tell you all something that is undoubtedly unseen if it was a sign or not, but a few days ago me and some others went camping, and one of them was Naruto," he said, gesturing Naruto up. "Something landed on Earth, and that thing is called the Omnitrix." Naruto held up Ho's wrist, sewing it off, "and no one has been able to remove it from him. My son Asuma tried cutting off with wind chakra, but nothing. And before you speak, Danzo, if it were a weapon, Naruto's mental state would change when he uses it," he said, shutting down the old war hawk. "What does it do?" a woman in a long white dress with a circle on it asked. "She is Mabuki Haruno." "Naruto," he said, turning to say, "person." Naruto, within full view of everyone, activated it and scrolled to Heat Blast. "I want Heat Blast Omnitrix," and slammed it down, and with a flash of light, the Omnitrix said no. So Naruto's fingers changed from 5 to 4. His clothes turned into an orange jumpsuit with a black stripe down the middle. His skin turned to gray, and his head turned bulbous with his eyes turning frog-like. Losing all his hair, he gained a black stripe down the middle of his head. He started to shrink as the Omnitrix dial appeared on his back. And before the transformation was thou, a light enveloped him, and once it was over, he wears a crimson Haori with black flames at the bottom. On the back in kanji was the name Gray Matter, he squeaked. After the flash, no one could see him but heard, "For fuck's sake," a high-pitched voice shouted out, and they saw hopping up on the desk a small frog. "Wah!" was a F.A. large, big-boned man said. "It's a frog," a blonde-haired man said. "No, Inoichi, he's not a frog," Shikaku said, looking at his friend and then turning to Naruto with a smile, "Watch on the fritz." His answer was a strong line of swearing that could make a sailor blush, and some of the children were shocked, except the young girl behind Sum Inuzuka. She was Kiba Inuzuka. I've heard worse, when she saw her friends looking at her, and her mother laughed at that. "So Gray Matter does this one do?" Sum asked. "I seem to appear to have extremely high intelligence, and I'm nimble," he said to her. "Useful," Shikaku said, looking at the form. "What species are you now, Naruto?" said, shocking everyone. This frog was Naruto. "I have yet to look at the USB, he said, getting a nod from the Nara head. "You see, Naruto has just turned into an alien. The Omnitrix turns the user into aliens, and this has drawn the attention of 2 beings, the Hokage said. "Who?" a man with pale eyes asked. "The first, his name is unknown, but his goal is to turn the Omnitrix into a weapon. We have faced his work twice. The first time he sent 3 robots after us. We destroyed them quickly. The next challenge that was difficult. IT sent out a machine tiger that could turn into a sword, and it possessed a girl from the land of noodles. Naruto defeated the machine and destroyed the darkness in it. But the thing that sent it wiped its memory of it. He said, shocking everyone in the room. And the other, the male elder. The literal embodiment of all the light in the universe. The traveler. That is why I'm younger. The light has truly empowered me, he said. How do you know? Danzo asked as both Naruto and Hiruzen held out their hand, and their ghosts popped out. Hey, Sajira said to everyone. It's nice to meet you, Kushina said. This is how both light bears said. The council was shocked by seeing the small machines floating there. Naruto, I am going to make some ghosts so you know what to do, the traveler said, and so Naruto held out his hands as a ball of light formed, and more ghosts floated out of the orb of light, and if someone was counting there was hundreds. What happened? Inoichi asked. The traveler has sent them out to find Chosen, Hiruzen said, looking at the feeling forms of the ghosts. He then turned to the council. Yesterday after I got back to my office and welcomed the newest members of Konoha, I summoned back my 2 remaining students. Then with a blood clone leading Konoha, me, Naruto, Jiraiya and Tsunade will travel to the remains of Yuzu. Collect everything there and then return, he told them. But Fist, Naruto must tell you something. Last night, the traveler pulled me into my mindscape. She first made me whole my awakening my Uzumaki blood and made me the true Jinchuriki of Kurama. Now before you say anything, let me continue. He said to see people opening their mouths. After he was whole, he talked to him, no hate, no pity. He told me why he did it. He was controlled. When Naruto said that, they all looked confused. Then one by one heads turning to the only Uchiha left in the room. Yes, the Uchiha, but this one was at the time 14, and Kurama said that this Uchiha was familiar to him, but not Madara. Naruto said, and with his hands behind his back started to pace Kushina. On my birth, how many Umbu were there guarding me? My mother and my father. 19, she said after a little thought. How many survived? 2, she said shockingly to the council. Sajira, Hiruzen turned to his ghost. What were their names? One was Kakashi Hatake, but he was sent on their break. Along with the other Yugao Yuzuki, she said. A dead end, the big-boned man said. No, Lord Akamichi, I think I got someone in mind. Naruto said, GG, when the third wars were in its swing. How many Uchiha was dead? He asked. 35, the one that responded was a man with gravity-defying silver hair. He is Kakashi Hatake. And how many Uchiha fit this description of a 14-year-old with one Sharingan, a Sharingan in his right eye? Naruto asked as pieces started to fit together. Only one, Kakashi said, looking down. Obito Uchiha. Yeah, your father's student like me. As the word Kia felt wrong now as the name traitor fitted better. We have a person. But means. Motive, Shikaku asked. Rin, Kakashi said. He loved Rin. And now with me killing her he wanted revenge. I'm not dead, a female voice said as a woman that Kakashi had known walked in. She has purple tattoos on her cheeks. She is Rin Noera, and she had a red and white ghost with her with gold accents on it. Destiny Ghost Sundance. This shocked everyone and they heard thou Kushina. Those that are worthy I will bring back from the dead or choose from the living, the voice of the traveler said. The next day, Gate of Konoha. Naruto and Hiruzen stood waiting for both of the remaining Sannin to get there, and waiting with them were Rin, and not that far away was 3 people were walking up to the village. The first was a black-haired woman at shoulder length. She had fair skin with a slider form, she has onyx eyes, she had a C-cup breasts. She was wearing a long bluish-black kimono with white trimmings, held closed by a white obi, and open-toed sandals with low heels. She is Shizun Kato. The next is a woman with bold hair. She had fair skin with a large slider form with hazel brown eyes. She had J-cup breasts. She has a purple diamond on her forehead, and she wears a grass-green haori underneath. She wears a gray, kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad, dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants with open-toed sandals with low heels. She is Tsunade Namike Senju. The LS1 was a man with long white hair with fair skin. Red marks were going down his face. His attire consisted of a green short shirt kimono and matching pants, under which he wore mesh armor that is visible at his wrists and ankles. He also wore handguards, a black belt, traditional Japanese wooden sandals, and a red haori with 2 yellow circles on each side. He has carried a large scroll on his back, with a horned head protector with the kanji of oil. He is Jiraiya Namikaze. When all 3 walked up to the 3 light bears and 2 look sacred while 1 looks on in awe at the 3. The reason. Hiruzen had his spectral flaming wings out as he looked upon his 2 students in shame. Then there is Naruto with purple energy outlining him. And finally, there is Rin with blue lightning-like energy. It was sparking around her. "You are late," the Hokage said with a pissed-off look on his face. "Sensei, it takes a while to," the Toad Sannin was saying. "I said 11 o'clock. It's 1300 hours, the Kage said. "What took you?" Rin asked the youngest woman there. "Lady Tsunade and Lord Jiraiya was hung over and said that you could," Shizune was saying before both Namikaze covered her mouth. "Is that so?" Hyuzen said as his eyes also glowed with the same spectral fire. 5 minutes later down the road. The 2 Sannin had about 50 bumps on their heads each. As they walked, they had seen there was a large massing of fishermen. The fishermen were going in the direction. "Where are you going?" Rin asked a passing fisherman. "Oh, the Lake of Monsters," the fisherman said, walking past them. "Lake of Monsters?" Naruto asked, turning to the older ninja. "I've never heard of it," Tsunade said, turning to her husband. "You Jiraiya?" she asked. "Yes, they say that every 100 years, a creature that exists in the depth of the lake," the toad sage had said, looking over to the fisherman. "People want to catch it." "I know of this creature," Kurama said. "It is the spawn of my brother Isabu. My father allowed him for 2 reasons. The first, to have this child, is that child of prophecy would require her. The second, Naruto asked. He wanted grandchildren, and when Kurama said that, Naruto burst out in laughter. "And a Naruto, what is it?" Hyuzen asked, and when Naruto told him, he too started laughing, but then noticed that their group was missing someone. "Tsunade, where is your husband?" he asked her. She looked around and saw Jiraiya going at full speed to the Lake of Monsters and sighed before pointing. Lake of Monsters. The group soon got to the lake, and what they had seen could not be unseen. "By Kami," Hyuzen called. "By the light," Sajira said, looking shocked. "It can't be," Naruto said with his brain going into overload. "Traveler helps us," Kushina said. "By the gods," the Zanpakuto said, looking sick. Wolf Screeger was whining. The fairies were hiding in the sakura tree. "That is a devil's work," Diblo said, sitting down depressed. "This is the work of the darkness," the traveler said. "What is the name of the sage?" Kurama said. Why, Rin asked, falling to her knees. "This is Ghost 003. We need help. I repeat, we need help." Rin's ghost tried to call for help. Shizune just covered her eyes while Tsunade had facepalmed and shook her head. The reason was Jiraiya in fishing stockings and vest, with a massive fishing rod. "What do you think you're doing?" the slug Sannin asked. "I'm fishing," he said, turning to the lake. And it was a gigantic lake 200 miles long, and it must have been 1,000 feet deep. "Jiraiya! I want to do this for one reason," he said, cutting off his wife and turning to Naruto. "There are poachers here, and we need you to look around the lake for this monster," the toad sage said, getting a look from the Hokage. Orochi, Femme Orochimaru, has been trying to make Kakai Genkai. And so they started to make a camp so that they could serve the lake and they could both fish and keep an eye out for Orochi's ninja. Naruto walked up to the lake and turned the Omnitrix to a fish-like man and slammed it down. His hands and feet grew sharp and gained webbing between his fingers and toes. His jaw grew large with teeth grew out of his lips with an antenna light sprung out of his head like an angler fish. His eyes turned to fish eyes, with gills growing on his neck. Out of his elbow and down his neck grew fins. From his face he grew long catfish-like whiskers. His skin turned to fish-like scales and a loincloth around his waist. He had a belt with the Omnitrix dial in the center of the belt. The loincloth glowed, and the loincloth had now a red flame design on it. "Ripjaws," he yelled. Naruto, as Ripjaws jumped into the lake deep in the trees, a woman with bleach-white skin looked upon the Konoha group. "Sensei, damn it." She turned to her right to see a silver-haired woman with glasses on. "Kabuto, send the pawns in first," she said. Yes, Lady Orochi, Kabuto said to her. Sensei, save me. A voice that sounded like Orochi said as she looked at Hyuzen as she walked away. Inside of the Lake of Monsters. As Naruto was swimming now the fish in the lake was not just regular fish, there was other type of fish that did not seem right, some seemed older, a lot older. Kushina, Naruto called out his ghost. Yes, Naruto, she asked. Contact Gigi. All right, she said. Edge of the Lake of Monsters. The group was fishing with varying success. Sajira appeared out from her partner. Hyuzen, Kushina is contacting you, she said. Let it thou, he said. Gigi. The voice of Naruto said, coming now Sajira. Yes, Naruto, the Hokage said. There are ancient fish here, he said, and I meaning ancient old as in older than the tailed beasts. This confused the group. Why was there ancient fish in a lake? They should have evolved like other fish. Ruer, something loud shouted from within the lake. Inside of the Lake of Monsters. Naruto and Kushina were looking around for the source of the sound. Do you see it, Naruto? The Kage asked. Naruto was about to say no, but then he has seen a large shadow over him and turned to look at the shadow. He's seen a giant, bipedal creature, with 4 webbed legs and a tail with a fin, and 2 tentacles coming out of its mouth. It has blue eyes, golden teeth, 6 gills on her neck, and the upper part of her body is dark cyan, while the lower part is olive. Yes, I do. Kushina, send an image. Okay, she said in a weak voice. Edge of the Lake of Monsters. Sajira showed the image of the beast, and around it was a scale that showed its size. Dame, that's big, Shizen said. I've seen bigger, both Sannin had said. Before the Kage could spec 45 ninjas with a musical note on their head protector said. That this is ours. Their leader said, move along and you can live. The fishermen got the hell out of there, but the ninja stood their ground. No one moved, and a single leaf fell off an individual branch. It floated down, and as it got in between both leaders, everyone sprung into action with 20 of them got into the lake with 25 staying. As they fought, Rin had brought out a kunai and started to do the stab and run style, and she gathered arcing energy back in her hands and threw it at one of the ninjas, and it began to jump from ninja to ninja. Hyuzen gathered the spectral fire in his hand and flung it at the leader of the ninja, and it turned him to ash. Shizen was speeding in and throwing poison sanbon at an enemy, and then attacked them with chakra scalpels. Tsunade was taking them out with her enormous strength, and her husband was just taking them out with the fishing rod in his hands. But more of these ninja kept coming. Hiruzen/Rin, you can use you super now, both their ghosts said within their partners. Hiruzen and Rin felt the power of the light flow in him start to grow and grow. Until it burst forth out of them. Hiruzen gained a spectral flaming sword appeared within his hand, and he started to let out arcs of spectral fire at the ninja and turning them to ash. While Rin gained a staff made of arcing blue energy staff and ran fast at the ninja and moving now them, turning them to nothing as she did. Seeing that their numbers being decimated like they were nothing, they started to retreat. A giant blast erupted from the water. They turned to see the creature with ripjaws riding it with an enemy ninja as both of them was fighting on it. A few seconds earlier inside of the Lake of Monsters. As Naruto and the creature staring at each other with Kushina retuned, to within Naruto, multiple slashes alerted them as Naruto turned around and saw ninja swimming at them. Well, look at that, there's 2 of them. One of them said. Lady Orochi would love them both, another said. And so they attacked with the creature taking out most of them with its claws and using its tentacles to crush the others with Naruto swimming in and cutting the survivors. So they were winning until one of the enemies got to the creature with Naruto, and that is where it leads us. Once the creature erupted from the water. Naruto and the ninja were fighting each other, and Naruto was getting the upper hand until he started to dry out and had to jump into the water. The creature, seeing that its protector jumped backing, the dived after him and then jumped out of the water with followed by Naruto with his claws cutting the ninja. And then beep, beep, beep with a flash of light ripjaws was now Naruto. He was falling back first into the water. But then he was on something soft and wet. He had a look, and Naruto was riding the creature. Thank you, he said, and it just let out a small roar as if saying you're welcome. So now after that, the fight was over. Naruto decided the rest of the day was swimming at the bottom of the lake with the creature that he named Kraken, and that it was a she. So Naruto was collecting some things from the bottom of the lake. And then they set off. Planet Earth, border of the lands of fire and water, seafloor, Chimeran Hammer. In a dark place, 29 beings were standing there waiting for some word on what to do. They are bounty hunters. One was a bulking figure in black armor. One resembled a fiddler crab with a goldish-brown-colored armor, a sideways mouth, for scythe-like legs and a giant, powerful pincer for a left hand. A being in armor, his feet are hooved, it has purple pads covering his central joints, a belt, and for central lines on his helmet to provide outlines for his face, which are his eyes and mouth. One is a gigantic yellow tank with one green eye. Z metal tank. A massive robotic red dragon. Y dragon head. The next was a bipedal lion-like being with 2, 3-claw gauntlets. X saber airbellum. This one was a robot human with green electronic wires sprouting out of its fingers. What kinetic puppeteer? Another was a stone creature with flames around him. Volcanic slicer. The next was a being in black and dark purple armor with a red 39 on its shoulder, and it had 2 swords at its waist. Number 39 Utopia Ray V. A green serpentine dragon with lightning is gathering around it. Thunder Dragon. Another, it's a robotic ball, it has a single drill on the top of its head, with 2 drills for arms and treads. Drill Synchron. A green robotic bird jet rocket thing. Vindicate Argenex. There was 2, a yellow robotic dragon with a blue excavator shovel for their arm, with a screwdriver like a thing on the other arm with a spade-like tail. Power Tool Dragon. A green sizable green creature with stone armlets with a cement mixer like a tail. Nero Warrior. Next to it is a small pink machine with a clown-like face on it. Nero Cycron. Another is a red robot knight with a flowing cape. Mathmech Edition. A bluestone golem, a cannon arm with fire spewing out. Laval Cannon. There was a titan of a creature. Its skin is pitch black, with crimson eyes and sharp claws. Radian, the multidimensional kaiju. The next was a Spinosaurus, but it was blue and red, and its fin was on fire, but there was a collar around its neck. It is being controlled by the next is another machine with chains connected to its hands, Durax Spino and iron chain coil. The next was another machine, and this one is blue and green with skinny blade-like legs, a rocket launcher for an arm and a blade for another, high-speed droid puzzle. The next looked like your stereotypical alien, but it seemed to be composed of gray ooze of some sort, Gradle slime. The next is a demon made of blue fire earring jeans. Flamville Fiend. The next is a dark-skinned being that is wearing Egyptian-style clothing, and he had a creepy smile on his face with a golden ankh hanging around his neck, Exodia Necros. Next was a spider the size of a man with an orb of darkness in the middle, Dark Tuner Spider Cocoon, and I apologize for those with arachnophobia for the image of a man-sized spider. The next is a dark navy blue mechanical serpentine dragon with blue markings on it with long plugs attached to it. Cyberdark Keel. The next yet another machine, it looked like a pistol, and a dinosaur had an unholy love child, Blowback Dragon. The next is a man-bird, he was wearing samurai armor, and he had black wings with 4 blades sticking out of each wing. On his head looked like Sparrow's head. He held a katana in his talon-like hands. Chidori the Rain Sprinkling. As they stood around, a screen showed up with the face of Vilgax. The tryouts start now, he said. The one in bulky armor pulled out a rectangular object and dropped it, and it turned into a hoverboard. It hopped on and flew around as drones is released. It pulled out a blaster and started to shoot at them and destroyed them. Next, Vilgax called. The crab-like then walked in as drones flew in. The crab opened its pincer and shot a laser out of it and then crushed another in the pincer. Next, the one with purple armor walked up, and as the drones flew over to him, lasers folded out and just shot at them. Next, the tank rolled up, 2 cannons popped out and fired large lasers out, atomizing the drones. Next, the red dragon took off, and as it saw the drones, it unleashed a large amount of electricity from its mouth, destroying them. Next, the lion-like beast just ran up and started to cut down all the drones sent after him. Next, the humanoid robot walked up as one drone flew into range. It threw out one of the green cables at it. The drone turned to the other drones and it destroyed them, then electricity flew out the cable and destroying it. Next, he called once more. The stone creature started to fire out orbs of large magma at the drones. Next, the one with the red 39 walked thou and as drones. It grabbed the blades at its waist and cut them in half. Next, the green serpentine dragon unleashed a blast lighting at the drones that flew towards it. Next, the orb drove up and jumped up and drilled down the drones. Next, the birdjet rocket flew through space that just shot down the drones. Next, both yellow robot dragons kept walking, and one used their shovel to crush the drones, and the other used the screwdriver to drill down the drones. Next, the green creature and the pink robot waked up as the green creature then swallowed the pink robot. Steam started to flow out of the green monster as it began to destroy all of the drones, before spitting out the pink robot. Next, the knightly robot raised its sword and started to cut down all the drones that fly at it. Next, the bluestone monster raised its cannon and fired a blast of fire, and it turned all the drones to slag. Next, the Titan walked through and wrestled with a large drone and then cut down the drone. Next, the Spinosaurus walked out with the small machine, and then the machine's eyes glowed blue then green. The collar did the same, and the Spinosaurus unleashed a blast of fire at the drones, and it destroyed them. Next, he calls again. The blue and green robot jumped to action and fired out rockets to destroy some of the drones, and then cutting down the last one. Next, the gray ooze turned into a human and started to flying the hand signs, and then the air around them turned to arcs of wind and cut down the drones. Next, he yelled. The blue flame demon just held out its hand, shooting out blasts of fire and melting the drones. Next, he shouted once more. The dark-skinned individual had held out his hand towards the drones and a beam of light destroying them. Next, the spider walked up the wall and everything that it walked past the drones. The drones started to be getting crushed something before they just disappeared. Next, the mechanical serpentine dragon slithered through area the plugs attached to one of the drones, and it started to fire at the other drones, and then the drone turned its blaster on itself. Next, the gun dinosaur thing opened fire at the drones, eradicating them. Next, he called one final time. The samurai birdman walked up and started to cut down the drones. After a few minutes, the crippled warlord's voice rang out, "You all pass. I want you to find someone," he said as a picture of Naruto. "Bring him to me alive or dead. I don't care. The one that brings him to me will get 1 million credits and 1 million glimmer," he said, and so they all left. Land of Fire, abandoned town. Naruto with others are having a rest after yesterday's incident where Naruto gained a pet in the form of the Kraken, and they were looking over what Naruto had got from the bottom of the Lake of Monsters. And what he had gotten was a pentagram green tablet that had a blue M with a diamond, a silver helmet with wings on either side, a wooden stick that eradicated power, a green lantern-like object that held green light, a bowl in a foreign language with a dragon on the cover, a recipe to make someone powerful, a crate of spices, vials of blood and instructions, 2 chessboards with red and white pieces, a key with the symbol of cancer, a large black box with glowing dots on it that looks to be plugged in somewhere, a giant golden disc, a coin with a dragon-like footprint on it, a bag with a lot of gold rings, a stone key that was the size of Jiraiya, blueprints of a set of armor, a large mirror, 2 large chests of balls with 2 of them seemed to be alive, a massive meal book, a stuffed lion toy, 5 crate of bottles of whiskey, 1 giant blue chest with thousands of golden coins, a red crystal that seemed to hovered in his hand, a pen with a glowing nib, a large table about 2 meters long and wide, an egg that irradiated heat that Naruto could hear a heartbeat from, 3 coins, 1 red with an agali, another one yellow with a tiger, and the last one is green with a grasshopper, a red gauntlet with a green jewel in the center, a map, 2 rectangular things with a handle, one with ace of white spade and the other with a red ace of spade, a book called The Standard Book of Spells, a deck of cards, a pentagon with the symbol of fire on it, a box of querate boards, a jewel with 2 stars in it, metallic cylinder that glowed blue, a small screen that attaches to the air that stows numbers, a vial of some liquid tin in, a large box of caney, a flute. The next is a bottle like object purple with a gray cross. It looked to be have some metal coating, a chest of lenses, a book called History of Magic, a blue scroll with some kind of kata to do with water, a box of tools and welding gear, a cube with blue glass surrounded by a golden medal, a orange jewel that held a sun mark on it, a book called Most Potent Potions, a glove with golden veins with a golden eye in the palm, a book called Advanced Potion Making, a rusted robot, a helmet with a small visor, a recipe for bread, dragon-themed armor with a large sword, a small red device with a small screen and 3 buttons, a vial of a black liquid, a bag full of tubes full of green gas, a jetpack, a small set of drills, another 2 blueprint but this time of a vehicles, a scarf that is made of scales, a robotic. A blue pine of a robot, another egg but this one is bigger, a book called The Monster Book of Monsters, a large jar of Lycid, a red book with the mark of a sun on it, a book called Most Macabre Monstrosities, a book that translost the first book, another table that has a round top, a chest of gems, another book and this one is called Advanced Rune Translation, 2 paintings of robotic animals on a bit of rocks, a chest is full of types of metals, another book that is called Ancient Runes Made Easy, a blue card, a small black-wheeled robot, 3 scrolled-up papers with ancient writing, a katana, another book Ancient Runes Translation, a box OD weirs and scrap metal tubing, another crate of spices, a crate of Freud, a book called Asiatic Antivenoms, 2 massive blue Ceristal, a ring with foreign markings on it, a summoning contract, a broadsword, a crate of colored cabbage, a laptop, a small book on grooming, ninja scroll that holds 2 eyes of the Uchiha clan, chest of gold bars, a box of computer chips, a doubled sword made of a golden metal, art supplies, another map, another robotic eye, a robotic arm, another scroll of kata but this one is green, a book called Book of Gods, 2 crates of honey, a set of black armor, and finally book on automail. Dame kid, you sure got a lot, Jiraiya said as he was sealing all of the things in scrolls. I know, but I have a feeling that it will help me, Naruto said as he held one of the rectangular things and he gave Rin the other one. Naruto B. Tsunade was saying before a bang went off as smoke came from the rectangular thing, and a hole was now in a tree not far from them. Careful, she finished as she looked at the hole. Naruto looked at the thing in his hand and said, I'll call it a hand cannon. A perfect name if I do say so myself, Rin said, holding her hand cannon. Her one had the white spade on it. We need to practice thou. She then said looking over to the abandoned town, and then got an idea. Tsunade, can you make a set of dummies for me and… She was saying before looking at youngest and then nodded my future husband, to test out these hand cannons. They all looked at her weirdly when she said that Naruto is her future husband. What do you mean by that? Tsunade asked. Naruto is going to be put under CRA because of and how greedy the council has gotten, Rin said as she was looking over at the horizon. He is going to need someone that will help him now everything. With Obito attacking the village, so he's a no. Kakashi has turned in to the council's pet. Also a no, and me being the only student from Sensei that cares for Naruto. She then turned to Tsunade. I'm physically the same age as Naruto. He will need help, and the council will only send gold diggers. You're right, Hiruzen said as he looks at Naruto. He has been under CRA. He said, shocking everyone. Yesterday after we left, council has put you under that law? Can they do that? Jiraiya asked. Yes, with the power that they now have. He said sadly, luckily Tsumayunzuka has put bother her children and herself up for you. With that said, Jiraiya started to have a nosebleed. What was all Naruto could say with his race both crimson and white at the same time. After some time, Tsunade made some dummies for Naruto and Rin to test. Ready? The slug Sannin said. Both Naruto and Rin stood 5 yards away. Aim. They both steadied their hand and feet. Fire, she called. And with a pull of the trigger, bang. 2 loud gangs rippled down the air, as there was now 1 hole in each dummy. As Tsunade examined the holes, Jiraiya examined the coin with the footprint, but then his danger senses went off and started to look around. Sour, a ninja with a black ninja uniform, brownish-beige flak jacket with shoulder pads, cloth wrapped around their head and mouth. Their feet are like a putty with them being squished to their skin had a gray tint to it. Sensei, Jiraiya called. I know, the Hokage said as he sees a weird stone/bone creature watching them with fire erupting from its mouth. I got 2 over here, Shizune said as she sees 2 dragons, one made of metal, the other of scales. I see 3, Rin said as she notices a crab thing, a hulking green monster and a pink propane canister. I have 1, Naruto said as he glances at a rabid beastman thing with 6 claws, 3 per hand. And I have 2, Tsunade said as she looks at a small being riding a giant reptile with a flaming fin. The leaf ninja then turned to each other and nodded and jumped to action. The 2 dragons flew in with one of them, opening its mouth and breaths out lightning at them. Naruto's eyes flashed purple for a split second as he then started going. Now the hand seals, ox, dog, rat, he called, Fujinhiki, swift wind wall. Ha called as the wind begins to form around him, making a wall of swirling wind covering him entirely. as it knocks away the lightning, and when the wall dissipates, Naruto is no longer there. "Look what you did, you studied reptile," the maniacal dragon said with a deep, synthesized voice. "Be quiet," the other dragon said in a feminine-style voice, "you know nothing." She then took off to find her prey. Hiruzen started bounding at the stone/bone creature. It does the same at him, Suetun. Suijin Hiki, water release, water formation wall. The Hokage calls as he then spits out a massive wall of water, what the creature then run into. It lets out a roar of pain. It then heard, Suetun. Suryuden no Jutsu, water release, water dragon bullet technique. The Hokage said after he's done flying through 42 hand seals at a rapid rate with the water, becoming an Eastern-style dragon. The water dragon then zoomed in and crushing the stone/bone creature into nothing. Not before letting out a molten ball of lava that flew overhead and hit gray-tinted ninja, turning him into a statue. Tsunade ran up before she had to dodge a laser blast coming from her right, and it turned out to be a humanoid with purple armor. #pound and $$. # and $pound. It asked her. "What?" she said. He asked, "Where's the Omnitrix?" The crab thing said as in a lazy tone. He then turned to her, "So where is it?" he asked with pincer opening menacingly. She tightened her hand and punched the ground, kicking up a lot of dust, and then she hit the one in the purple armor and sent him flying through an abandoned house and jumped away from the crab. As it opened, it's the claw and fired a beam of light. Shizen ran up to the small pink propane can, and then before she could get to it, the green monster ate it, and steam started flowing out of it at an accelerated rate. The green monster then saw her disappear before it felt something on its leg. It's then dragged down to below the ground with a call of Doton. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, earth release, double suicide decapitation technique. Shizen then was above ground. The monster trashing around it started to expand and started to get bloated. Shizen then started to run, and then boom! The hulking beast exploded. She then turned around and saw a colossal demon thing gonna swipe at her. But three things flew past her head, digging into its hand. She then turned around and saw Rin with a massive smile on her face running up to her, being trailed by a rabid lion human thing running after her with a few missing claws. "Hi," she said as she ran past them with the rabid thing in tow. "What the?" both ninja and demon said, looking at them as they passed, and then turned to each other and shrugging, and got back to their fight. Jiraiya was running at the putty ninja that is now a stature, but it started to get crushed by nothing. Then a human-sized spider tore itself out of the spider, and then he fell to his knees like gravity was pushing him down and crushing him, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not get to his feet. "Foods is mines," the spider said as it was getting closer to the toad Sannin, and just as it was 3 feet away from him. The coin that had the footprint on fell on the floor. It started to glow a faint green that traveled over the ninja, and he blacked out. Jiraiya's mindscape. Jiraiya was by a lake similar to the Lake of Monsters, but you could not see the other side. "Is anyone there?" he called after looking around. "So you're my wielder," a male voice said, and as he looked around, he saw a male teenager with a green vest, black tracksuit bottoms. He had tan skin with black hair and piercing green eyes. "To think that I would have another," he said as he walked over the lake and stood over the water, and in the water, beneath him, 2 blue eyes started to glow. "Use me," he said as his form began to change to a dragon-like creature. Abandoned village. The spider was now a foot from the ninja. Then the green light got brighter. The light then started to die, and as it did, Jiraiya started to stand, and the coin floated up to his palm. He grabbed it, and it took the form of a large dagger with few flaws parts attacked to it. "Use me!" the dragon roared out once more as Jiraiya jumped at the spider, shocking it. It started to increase the gravity around it, and Jiraiya then started to play it as a golden shield appeared around him. He just walked forward, ignoring the now frightened as his eyes glowed an emerald green. "Stays a ways," the spider said, backing up. But Jiraiya kept advancing. He took the flute dagger from his mouth with the blade started to glow green, and with a quick slash the spider is dead. The spider's core then started to get sucked into itself before nothing was left except an orb of darkness that sinks into the shadows, realizing a shock wave of darkness. Rin's still running. But now she had a bluestone golem thing shooting at her. And it was with the rabid lion human thing that was again running after her, and it's currently missing all of its claws. With Naruto, he was sneaking around to attack and then felt something getting pointed into his back. He turned around to see a bulky figure in black armor. "Don't try it," it said in a deep voice. "Can I know the name of my killer?" Naruto asked, looking at it gathering chakra in his feet. "I'm not going to kill you," it said, "and my name is Tetrax," it said, removing the blaster from Naruto's back. "Well, Tetrax, why are you here?" Naruto asked as he turned around. "To make sure that Vilgax doesn't get the most powerful weapon in the universe," it said, and its head armor retracted into the armor showing his head is composed of green crystal. Before either could speak, they both pulled out their respected weapons and pointed behind each other. Behind Tetrax is a robotic dragon with a cannon for a head. Behind Naruto is a robot with a cannon for an arm with a blade for the other. "Friends of yours?" Naruto asked the crystal being. "Bounty hunters," he said, looking at the robot behind Naruto. "The one behind you's called HSR Puzzle, and the one behind me is called Blowback Dragon." The dragon looked at them, spread his legs, aimed at them with the tip of its barrel glowing white, and fired, with Naruto getting pushed away by Tetrax as the blast went and hit HSR Puzzle, and it fired back at the dragon. Naruto, still gathering chakra in his feet, ran up to the gun dragon and kicked it, leaving a dent, and he activated the Omnitrix and turned to the manta ray alien and slammed it down. He starts to grow a tail as his skin turns red. He developed 2 yellow horns, and his fingers turn into 2 elongate fingers. A membrane formed from his arms to his tail. His body flattered. His back shone, leaving a tattoo of black flames on his back, with a shout of Jet Ray. His transformation is done. Naruto turned his head to the robot with the blade arm and shot out a laser from his eyes, shooting at the cannon arm. A rocket apers in one of the holes, making it explode, blowing HSR Puzzle's arm off, and Tetrax's arm turns into a blade and cuts of blade arm. The eyes of the HSR glowed red, then blue, and back to normal. Tetrax pulled out his blaster. "Yes, you tell him," he said before pulling the trigger, blowing its head off. Naruto and Tetrax turned his head to the other robot, with them both shooting lasers at the dragon, blowing it up. "Good aim," they said to each other. Boom! An explosion rippled down the ground, and both aliens ran out to see the small human, Shizune, standing over a dead Titan demon. Before they could comment, they see Rin and her ghost that she named Sundance was getting chased by the rabid lion human thing, a bluestone golem that is missing its cannon and a small ball with drill horn. "Hey, Naruto and Crystal Guy," she said, running past them, getting chased by her little party, before turning around, glowing in spectral fire, and shot all 3 of them, disintegrating them. "You are gonna help?" Naruto asked, seeing more bounty hunters. "Yeah," was all Tetrax said. Shizune, now that she killed the Titan demon, turned to a warrior with 2 swords and a red 39 on its shoulder. "You killed Kenny, you bitch," it yelled as it ran at her, banishing, with Shizune going at it with her chakra scalpels. "Oh, shut up," she yelled at the being as they had their fight. Jiraiya, after dealing with the darkness spider, walked out to see a dark-skinned being looking at him, holding an orb of light in its hands. "You're not going to let me go, you?" he asked, gripping his new weapon. Shook its head. "I thought so," the sage said, dodging the ball, now a beam of light, and attacking with the dagger. Tsunade, now after having lost the crab and humanoid in purple armor, turned a corner and could see the reptile with the flaming fin and the small machine, and jumped at the robot. Hiruzen was running to join a battle, then lighting arced around the earth beneath his feet. "Running from a fight?" a voice called out, and as the Hokage turned, he could see a man in a bird costume with samurai armor. "Running to one," he stated before biting his thumb and summoning Enma. How turned into his staff form and got into his fighting stance. "Can I get you name?" he asked. "Chidori," he said, holding his katana out. "Your name?" the birdman asked. "Hiruzen," the Kage said as they both jumped at each other, and as they passed each other, the Kage gained a substantial cut in the front of his clothes. Chidori had been in 2 halves, with the top of his body is one half, the legs another. "See you in the afterlife," Hiruzen said, coning forward. Tetrax was running to aid the ninja and the lightning dragon. "Hello, traitor," she said before lunging at him. Rin was now in a literal firefight, she with her hand cannon versus a demon made of flames, and it looked like she was winning. "Well, it is in my memory. Kirigakure no Jutsu, hiding in mist technique," she calls as a thick mist starts to form, and steam is rising the demon's form, and then all the heat cools down. As the mist fades away, Rin is standing over the dead form of the demon. Back with Shizune. She has broken her opponent's swords, and she had cuts to her kimono. "My blades!" the dark armored figure said. My clothes, Shizen said. You bastard/bitch, and their fight starts once more. Naruto, after flying and shooting for a bit, drew a bit of attention from 6 roaming robots, and so he changed forms to gray matter. Now the small alien first made his way into the red nightly robot, and he started to change its circuits to attack the other robots. The robot knight turned to the dragons, and it cuts the arms of them and then goes for their heads. Tsunade jumped and was currently fighting on two of the reptile. She then made chakra scalpels and tried to cut at the small robot. You won't win, it said as it jumped away, and once it jumped she cut the collar off the reptile. Said reptile ripped into the robot and turned to Tsunade. She tensed. It licked her face like a dog. Back with the perv, and it was a case of a fistfight with the dark-skinned being with Jiraiya grabbing the dagger as it glowed green, and it let out a blast of green flames at the dark-skinned creature, burning it to ashes. Shizen now with only the top half of her kimono, showing that she was wearing a black lace thong, standing victorious over the dead body, the armored figure. Nice thong, Rin called to her as she walked up to the medic. Thanks, she said back with a crimson face. Before they could rest, plugs shot past them, joined to the downed armored figure. Power, something said as the maniacal machine dragon burst out of the ground. Yes, the voice of the there Kage said with his spectral flame sword cutting the dragon up into pieces, but also your undoing, he said walking out, and once he had seen Shizen, a nosebleed launched him like a rocket. Shizen, defeater of titans and Kages, Rin said as Shizen drooped her head and fell to her knees, ashamed at showing her leader her undergarments. With Naruto, he was using the brainpower of gray matter to destroy the robots, and once the puppeteer robot, he started to make the robot self-destruct. 2 down, 2 to go, he said as he ran at the crab and ripped out some wires, making sparks fly and deactivate its armor. Naruto then jumped from the crab to the purple one and started ripping wires out of its jetpack, making it fly into the crab, knocking both of them out. Beep, beep, beep. The Omnitrix flashed, and then Naruto was back to being human. Naruto, along with Rin, tied up the 2 that was still alive. The 2 reaming robots came up and combined. The red dragon's wing detached and disappeared. The body then merged with the tank. Before it could attack, it was then melted by the flames of the reptile that Tsunade and Jiraiya were riding. Worse, Tetrax? Naruto asked, looking around for his new friend, and then a large crystal emerged from behind a house with Tetrax walking out. I see you got 6-6 in crab, he said, looking over to the bound-up bounty hunters. I'll send them away, he said, typing something on his arm, and both bounty hunters are beamed up. What will happen to them? Shizen asked. My ship will go put them in some sort of hold, he said. What about the space police? Naruto asked. There is none, Tetrax said, shocking everyone. Vilgtax wiped them out to test his power. And every time one starts up he crushes it, Tetrax said, looking at the ninja and then zoning on Naruto. No one has ever stood against him for longer than a day. But you have done so for 5 days so far, he said. What will you do? Hiruzen asked him. The crystal alien stayed quiet. You could join us, Naruto said, looking at him. With your help, we could effectively help the universe. So will you? He asked. Yes, I think I will, Tetrax said as they all walked off. Planet Earth, border of lands of fire and wave, sunset. Our small group of ninja and aliens was setting down for the night, with Jiraiya and Tetrax setting up the tents. Tsunade and Shizen are cooking with some of the food and spices that were in the lake of monsters. Hyuzen and Rin were getting the fire going, and Naruto was trying to fix the rusted robot as gray matter. So I have to get his wire and connect it to here. Naruto's voice was heard through the outer shell of the robot. To set the quick-release fuel system, this needs to go there. The recharge port needs to be rewired, he said as he jumped out of the robot and walked over to the boxes of parts. Wires. Wires. Ah, there you are. Oh, and our 2 astromech droid, Textrax said as he walked over. What are the problems? He asked, sitting down near the droid and helping Naruto build it. The AI is still functional. Almost all of the inner circuitry are ruined and most of the inner. Naruto started. Beep, beep, beep. Extras are rusted but are functional, he finished. As the both human and alien was working on the droid, Hiruzen walked over to them with the thoughts going through his head. Naruto, how did you know all thou's jutsu? He asked. I don't know, Naruto said. But I have a theory, the Jinchuriki said, turning to the Hokage. When the traveler sealed herself in me, she made me the full Jinchuriki of Kurama. I think that I got all the jutsu that the users have and the knowledge with how to do them. I see, the Kage said as Naruto turned back to the droid. As they worked on the droid deeper in the forest, a dark purple swirling portal opened with a woman with long crimson. She has blue eyes and a rounded face, and she has pale skin with an eye-cup breasts. She was wearing a white kimono with a flower pattern, and she had a massive slash in her clothes with blood seeping out. Have to find help, she said as bat wings sprout out of her back and then flew off. A few minutes later, a fire started to make a pentagram on the grounds and a massive green arm erupted out of and grabbing the ground and pulled itself out. Back at the camp, Naruto and Tetrax was fixing the droid, with Naruto turning back into gray matter to do the internal work, with Tetrax asking questions about the planet. So your people can use an energy that is within you to do anything, he said to the slug Sannin. Yes, and a lot of people have a single element while there are some with 2 to 3 elements, Tsunade said as she had some soup, and then you have the clans. The Uchiha are known like the Sarutobi clan to have great control of Katon style, but they also have the dojutsu called the Sharingan. Another with a dojutsu is the Hyuga and Uzumaki clans, she said to the crystal alien. Dojutsu? He asked her. The clans have Ijutsu that do something different, Hiruzen said having some soup. The Sharingan can copy any jutsu they see. The Hyuga has the Byakugan which can see the chakra points within the body, and finally the Uzumaki clan has the strongest one is called the Rinnegan. No one knows the true full power of the Rinnegan. So Naruto has the... Tetrax started. No. He has to unlock it, Tsunade said. Dojutsu is unlike other Kekkei Genkai and Kekkei Mora, they just need something to unlock it. After a few seconds of silence, some sounds were coming from the droid. Beep beep WHRL, the droid said as Naruto called out of it. You fixed it, Jiraiya said, looking at the droid. Yeah, Naruto said as the Omnitrix timed out, turning him back to human. It was not that hard. It is one down. He continued looking at the laptop that he had gotten as he started downloading the information from the USB. So Tetrax, who is this Vilgax? Rin asked him as she gazed at the stars. Vilgax is the worst of the worst. He has destroyed more planets than he has concerned, and he wiped out countless attempts at making a police force. He is a monster, and nothing can stop him, the Petrosapien said. No knew what to say until Naruto spoke up. I'll make the next one, and this one won't fail, he said with a fire in his eyes and with a stare of a million men, as his eyes had a hint of purple to them from all the fighting. I know you will, Hiruzen said, looking at the small boy, seeing the boy's parents behind him. Where do you start? Jiraiya asked the young prince. People that are open-minded. Not just Konoha, we need the whole world, Naruto said looking up. Well, start with Konoha, those who don't care about looks, forms, or where they are from. That will be difficult, Rin said, Sensei sent Iwa into fearing his name. Kiri is afraid of the name Uzumaki, she said, listing off villages. Kiri also has the bloodline wars going on, the Toad Sage said, and let's not forget Kumo has not once but twice tried to steal Konoha's bloodlines. He continued. Suna treats their Jinchuriki like a monster and tries to kill him every day, Tsunade said. The same could of the said of the Taki's Jinchuriki. I know. That is why I have an idea, Naruto said. After we get back to Konoha, Naruto said, pointing to the Sannin, Shizun, Rin, and Tetrax, we'll go from village to not only gain allies for Konoha but the police as well, he said. Not a bad idea, Shizun said. But where do we start? Iwa will want him dead, or we could have a political marriage with Naruto and a few of their kunoichi, Rin said. Kiri, Tsunade said. We'll go to Kiri. This shocked all the humans. Why that village? Tetrax asked, not knowing what is so shocking. Well, we will not only stop the rebellion, Konoha can gain Kiri as an ally, and we properly start this make space police, she said, looking over the small group. Hiruzen thought this over and picked something that was on his brain, the bloodline civil war. With Yagura the fourth Mizukage have all thous with Kekkei Genkai executed, he said. If we fail, he will turn his eyes to Konoha. You worry too much, his ghost said to him. In the ninja world, if you're paranoid you live, the Kage said, looking at her. Sky above the camp. The girl with red hair was flying, trying to find help. A monstrous roar echoed out the air that shocked the trees with shock waves. Re-awewa. The girl turned around to see a gigantic monster with its eyes locked onto her. "He let out one of the wicked ones," she said with her voice drenched in fear. She looked upon a giant green-skinned being with bone-like armor over its arms and head with massive black wings, and its eyes were a piercing demonic red. "The wicked Dreadroot," she said as the monster slapped her out of the sky. The camp. The group was getting ready to sleep as an enormous roar moves through the air. Re-awewa. And not long after a red-haired girl is thrown at them with blood seeping through her clothes. "Run," she said weakly. Re-awewa. The same roar erupted out, and it sounded like it was getting closer. They all got ready for a fight, and a gigantic figure burst through the trees, showing that it's a green monster with bone armor. "What the?" Jiraiya said. The wicked Dreadroot, one of the wicked monsters that obey one of the rules of hell," the girl said. "So this thing is a demon?" Shizen asked as the monster just stood there looking at them. "No, that is no demon. Demons have somewhat defining look. That thing," the redhead said, "is an artificial being made from the bodies of fallen beings and souls of shadow." Naruto started to run up to it and slam down the Omnitrix. "No, don't," she yelled at him. Naruto starts to grow as his sink turns into a brown scale-like plating. His neck becomes more extended, and he starts turning into a dinosaur-like humanoid. He gains spikes going down his back to his tail. Light enveloped Ho's back as it turned into Ho's Hiyori with ripped-off sleeves with kanji of the name of the alien called Humongosaur. He yelled as he jumped and punched it in the head, but turned to him and backhanded him, sending him flying overhead through trees. "Ow," he said. "What the?" the girl asked, looking at Naruto. Tetrax turned his arms into blades that ran up to it, with Shizune doing the same with chakra scalpels, but as soon as they cut it, and the cut started to regenerate. "You need to seal it," the girl said. "Seal it in a stone tablet. Then and only then can you beat it." "Good to know," Naruto said as he started to grow to his full height. "Can you seal it?" he asked the girl, and when she nodded he turned to the Toad Sanine. "Pervy Sage, can you make a tablet for her seal?" "I can try," he said as the other went and attacked the monster. Rin ran and activating her light as her arc staff apers in her hands as she ran up and started to hit it and shocking it, and as it was going to swat her away, Naruto landed a punch to its head. Doton, Doryuden, Earth Release, Earth Dragon Bullet. Hiruzen, called as a dragon's head made of mud, came forth from the ground and started shooting at the wicked Dreadroot. Tsunade joining her sensei, setting the mud bullets on fire with Ketan. Karyuden, Fire Release, Fire Dragon Bullet, as she breathed out a large breath of fire. "I know that I need the snake hand seal, but what else?" Jiraiya asked. "Add the boar seal," Shizen said as he sprang off Naruto's back and cut at the horns on the monster's helmet. "Next use monkey," the Kage said, summoning forth his light and started sending out arcs of spectral flames. "After that use rat," Rin said, ducking below a swipe and firing a few rounds into the monster. "Add the seal of the dragon after it," Tsunade said, punching the wicked Dreadroot. "Add the tiger seal next," Tetrax said, slicing at the arm of the Dreadroot. "Finish with the snake, and then the clap hand seal," Naruto said, shoulder barging the wicked Dreadroot, and as it regained its footing it decked Naruto. "Okay, let's do this," Jiraiya said as he started to go through the hand seals. Snake, boar, monkey, rat, dragon, tiger, sonk, asterisk, claps his hands in the final seal, asterisk, Sugur Sekibin, great stone tablet. He called as a massive stone slab burst out of the ground as the girl started chanting in a foreign language. "Are magna virtutis signa det best I am. Lucant super me. Obelisk omnipotens prohibere retro atque tergo. Comminuet ad fligit me inimicus. Slifer versus eram miseriter. Ptolemy signum hoc monstrum. O great Ra, grant me strength to seal this beast. Shine upon me. Almighty obelisk, stop this monster. Crush my enemy. Gracious Slifer, strike them. Empower me. Seal this monster," she said as crimson and black energy started to flow around her hands. It took the form of demonic skulls, and it shot at the wicked Dreadroot and wrapping around its arm. "I need to pull it in," the red-haired girl said. "Tetrax, roll up into a ball," Naruto said to the Petrosapien. Tetrax did this, and Naruto threw him at Dreadroot, knocking it towards the stone tablet. Tsunade then jumps in and punches it at her full strength, hitting it a bit more to the tablet, and Naruto at a double punch to the monster's head. Both Rin and Hiruzen threw their grenades, and when they exploded, kicking it back, and it was only a few feet away from the tablet. Shizune gathered all her chakra in her arms and punched the wicked dreadroot was forcing it closer to the tablet. The girl started to move her hands in a rotated manner as the crimson and black energy started pulling in the wicked dreadroot to the tablet and it began to get sucked into it. Rias Gremory they will find grown you and you will be dragged back to him, Dreadroot said as its voice was like thunder rumbling. None of you can save her, when you can't even save yourself. It said as it was finally sealed in the tablet, as its outline was engraved on the tablet. The no-identified Rias Gremory fell to her knees breathing deeply as Naruto still as Humungosaur standing over her. So who are you? He asked her. I am heiress of the Gremory clan of the 72 Pillars. I'm Rias Gremory. I'm a devil, she said as bat-like wings sprouted from her back. A devil? Kushina asked as she materialized next to Naruto. Yes, hell or the underworld. Whatever you call it, fiends, archfiends, demons and devils, she said as her wound started to heal. Devils are the top of the food chain in hell. So why did they send the wicked dreadroot after you? Naruto asked, shrinking down to his base size. Political marriage. But unlike you human political marriages, we do it to stay alive, she scoffed. Normally they ask their son or daughter, but my mother wanted it, so I ran away and my fiancé sent it, she said. Beep 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 whirl beep, the droid said as it got closer. We forgot about you. Naruto said sorry about that. He said to the droid, what do you want to do? Naruto asked Rias. Well, demon law states that I must marry the one that saved me, she said, looking at Naruto. But beep beep beep, and in a flash of light Naruto was back to being human. You already have a fiancé, he said. Yes, that would be true, but it is an ancient law. And my home family tree has you on it as my fiancé. Hell Gremory Mansion. A brown-haired woman was sitting in a high-back chair. She was looking out of a window at her garden, as a crimson-haired man bursts into the room. Venilana, my dear, we have bad news, the man said. Yes, Venilana turned to him. The family tree was what he said as both of them moved to it. And with their daughter was there, and she was connected to someone new. Zeoticus, why is she? The woman asked. He looked at her and then turned back to the family tree. The ancient law, was what he said. You mean that she will have to marry a human? Yes. As they looked at the tree, it said. Rias Gremory to be married to Naruto Namake's Uzumaki, Naruto Namake's Uzumaki to be married to Rias Gremory. Back at the camp. Naruto and the others were mulling over this information. They all were around a fire. So I have to marry you? Naruto asked. Yes. Are you okay that Naruto has to marry multiple women? Kushina asked. Yes. And you don't mind that he is a Jinchuriki of Kurama no Kyuubi? Hiruzen said. That's right. And is the first ever Jinchuriki of the Traveler. Sajira continued. Yep, Rias said, popping the P at the end. You don't mind that he can turn into aliens? Jiraiya said after the ghost of his sensei. I find it cool. What about his plan to make an intergalactic police force? Shizune asked. I can help, she said. How? Tetrax asked. When I'm strong enough, I will get evil pieces. I can reincarnate humans to turn them into devils, she answered. Beep, the droid asked. No, I will only turn those that want to be turned, she said. What do you want to do? Tsunade asked. Follow Naruto, she answered. After a few more questions, they all went to bed. Hell, unknown location. A blonde-haired man, he was in a red suit and a white dress shirt. He was sitting at a throne made of some kind of blame crystal staring at a screen of flames showing Naruto and his group setting down for the night. Marry a human, he said, a human. He spat the word out as if it was venom. Flames started to light the area around him. It showed cages that held monsters of many kinds as he clutched his fist. You will be mine, he said as the flame screen fades out as he got up out of his throne. His move to a gray-furred werewolf wearing blue armor that had a Gatling gun on its shoulder. You're next, he said as he gazed at the armored werewolf. Get my queen. He told it as a flaming pentagram burned beneath it. Rias Gremory, he voice echoed out. I will have you. Land of earth, graves of the earthbound. The wave of shadows that was from the spider that Jiraiya had killed and moved over all the lands. That is until it came across a gigantic outline of a spider. and the outlining burst into purple flames, and from within a spider made of darkness and shadows with red tribal markings over it. It then sank into the shadows, leaving nothing, and the outline is gone. The world's end, land of demons. A man with a black cloak was sitting at the bar, his arm glowed purple, showing the spider outlining that was in the land of earth. "So it is time," he said as a spider landed and sank in the palm of his hand. He turned around to look at the patience of the bar. Outside the world's end, a purple light started to emit out of it before it then consumed in purple flames, before the same humongous spider destroyed it, made of both darkness and shadow. This world will be bathed in shadows. The next day, with Naruto's group, 2 hours away from the land of whirlpools. The group moved forward and gone on a boat, and after 2 more hours they could see the land of whirlpools. "The home of my clan," Naruto said, looking at the island. "Planet Earth, land of whirlpools, ruins of Yuzushigakure." Naruto, with his ever-growing group, was walking and rolling up to the remains of a once great village. "What happened?" Rias asked as she looked around. "Kiri, Iwa, and Kumo attacked Yuzu. They thought that, without the Uzumaki clan, they would win the second war," the Toad Sannin said. "Did they?" Tetrax asked. "No," Tsunade said. "The Uzumaki clan wiped out half of their forces before they were driven to the brink of extinction." "How many?" the devil asked. "Unknown. I met one in AIM, but he died not long after Naruto was born," Jiraiya said. As they kept walking, Naruto felt like he was being drawn to something. It was a large circular building. It had the clan crest on the door. Its walls seemed to be made out of a red sandstone. The size of the building seemed to be 606 meters tall. "What is that place?" Rias asked. "I think it's the clan vault," Naruto said, walking up to the building. "For what?" she asked. "Money and clan scrolls," Rin said, looking for a way in. She then notes a seal on the wall. "What that?" she said, pointing it out. "What's what?" Horizon asked, looking at what she was seeing. "I don't see anything," Tetrax said. "Me neither," Shizun said. "Or me," both Sannin said. "I see it," Rias said, walking up to the seal. "Me as well," Naruto added. With that revelation, they walked over to where Rin pointed out, and it has the royal Uzumaki seal around it with some writing. "Only the king or queen of the whirlpools can this. Only the blood of the clan will restart the whirlpools. May the sage live on as the whirlpool flows on," Naruto said as he read. He then turned to the group and continued, "Bakon can't see it because her blood is too watered down. Tetrax, Gigi, Shizun, Pervy Sage, and R2, something I need to name, you can't see it because you don't have Uzumaki blood." He then turned to Rin and Rias. "You two can see it because you're going to be my wives, and me because I'm the prince of the whirlpools," he finished. They all nodded their heads and moved to the massive door. Naruto cut his palm and wiped it on the door. A loud clunk rings out as the clan crest starts to spin, with the sound of stone grinding against stone echoed along with the spinning symbol. Another clunk rung out as the door then scapes open. As they walked in, the only thing that anyone could say was "wow," as this place never seemed to end, as there were hundreds of thousands of scrolls, if not millions. In the center of the building was a gigantic pit filled to the rim with coins made of platinum, gold, silver, and copper, bars of platinum, gold, and silver, all types of precious gems and jewelry. To the right of the pit, there were racks and tables of weapons. To the left of the whole, 1,000 shelves full of books. In front of it was an of the well of money. There had an arch, and behind it looked to be hundreds of millions of chests made of stone. Below them was another arch with that room filled with clothes of many kinds. "You have all this?" Tediax asked, looking at everything. "It looks like it," Naruto said as he forward and down one of the sets of stairs. Castle Vantress, land of earth. In a massive tower that overlooked the entire of the land and ocean sat 50 people around a table. Every one of them was wearing robes of many colors, and not far from them was a werewolf in blue armor with a minigun on its shoulder. "This is the second shadow beast that was brought to this realm. A man wearing a purple robe, and the first one was chasing a devil, and then it was sealed." "What type of sealed?" a man in a blue robe asked. "Ninja or magic?" "Well, Master Jace, it seemed to be a magic sealing," the one in the purple robe said. "What do we do?" a man in a navy robe with flame design. "Well, Lord JJ, I think we need to know what that devil wants," a blonde man in armor and blue and gold robes said. I agree, a woman in a blue cloak and a black skirt and dark skin. And me, a man in both green armor and green robe. I say we hunt the devil, a man in black armor and green robe. I second the motion, a man in white robes said. A woman in white and blue shook her head and made signs with her hands. What she said, a ginger-haired woman in a suit said. Yeah, if we hunt them down they could be Satan level and destroy everyone nearby, a woman in black and gold robes. Not to mention, they could summon the first shadow beast, added a woman with silver hair and blue eyes in a blue dress. Yeah, a man that looked like a rock star said. They are right, we must meet with the devil and ask why they are here, a man in a green said. Lady Morgan, why? The man in white robes started. Do not finish that sentence, a young girl in a white toga said. I hate to agree with her. A woman in red dress and eyes with onyx hair, but we have to be civil, not evil. That is true, a man in blue and silver robes agreed. But who do we send? A woman in a dark red dress asked. One magic user from each discipline, the one in purple robes said. No, that is too many. One of each element, a woman in white and gold robes said. That is a good idea, a woman in a red and white dress with gold armor. I will lead to the group to the devil and ask them why they are here, a woman in black robes with a jackal-like mask said. So it going to be you and 10 others or you and 9 others, Lady Beastit, a man in white and gold robes with blue accents. Me and 10 others, she said. I, Virgo Star Sentinel, the sorceress of the Virgin, recommend Sister Blanc for the light magic position, a red-haired woman said as she looked over the group. I, Mahud, the dark magician, recommend my apprentice Mana, the dark magician girl, for the dark magic position, the man in purple robes said. I, Isis, for the hand of matriarch, recommend my daughter Isis V, the hand of Nephthys, for the metal magic position, the one in the red and white dress and gold armor. I, Joan the priestess with eyes of blue, recommend my daughter Kazara, the maiden of eyes of blue, for the lighting magic position, the woman in the blue robes that had the blue eyes. I, Trish the priestess with eyes of red, recommend my daughter Trinity, the maiden of eyes of red, for the fire magic position, the woman with onyx hair said. I, Jace Belleron the mind sculptor, recommend Sasha, the ether adept, for the water magic position. Jace voiced the next person. I, Soupy Dustwalker, recommend myself for the ice magic position, the woman in a blue cloak and a black skirt and dark skin. I, Soichiro Tenjiku, the herb magician, recommend T, the apple magician girl, for the wound magic position, a man with blue hair within a lab coat said. I, Suzuha, the noble magician, recommend the sky maiden Wendy Marvel for the wind, air and sky magic position, a woman in a pink dress with blonde hair called out. I, Carly, the fortune lady Earth, recommend Asa, the earth charmer, for the land and earth magic position, a woman with a bull hair black skin-tight suit and an orange dress. I accept the recommendations. We will leave after this meeting, the woman with the jackal mask said. We have a bigger problem than the devil, a lady in a green dress said. What, no? The man in white robes and armor asked. She stayed quiet and said something that got the attention of everyone. One of the earthbound have escaped. No one moved. The air felt still. All sounds died. Even time stood still. What, Jace asked. And that started it. One of the earthbound. Who? Which one? It took thousands of us to seal one of them, someone yelled. And that was the weakest one, another added. Fuck, let's hope it's not the condor, Joan said. Forget the condor, it's the whale is the main problem, it can hide anywhere, Trish yelled at her counterpart. Quiet, a man within sliver robes and a long gray beard yelled as his voice was magically enhanced. Thank you, Lord Dumbledore. A man with a white beard called. We need to keep our head, he continued. Send out the Rune Knights to find out what happened, voiced out a small bold man with a white mustache. While my group and I go to the devil while we send the 4 skilled magicians along with the Rune Knights, the woman with the jackal mask said, looking at the man in both white armor, and he nodded to her. I will lead my men along with 2 battalions of Rune Knights. He said, I'll head out now. He continued, he got up hand, he left. Yuzushiogakure, Uzumaki clan vault. Naruto and his group was walking now the vault, luing around before the split up into 3 groups. Group 1. Jiraiya, Sundance, Tetrax, and Tsunade walked into the room that was full of chests, and after a rough count there were 120 chests with Jiraiya unrolling 2 scrolls and drawing 60 sealing seals on both of them. Tetrax opened a chest and had a look inside, and all that was in there were spheres of many colors. Inside, this chest has tons of spheres inside it. He yelled out, lifting and carrying the chest over to Jiraiya. Same with there's 4, Tsunade said, carrying 2 chests while Tetrax gets the other 2. Sundance hovered over the chests. These chests have fruit with a strange energy signal to them. As Tsunade and Tetrax took 5 chests over to Jiraiya, Tsunade opened the next 3 chests, and it was filled with light yellow stones with a small yellow gem in it. What's that? Tetrax asked as he walked over to her. I don't know, she replied as she tried to crush it, and it won't even crack, so she added chakra, and it started to light up like a torch before it crumbled into dust. Okay, when you use chakra makes it light up. She carried the chests over to her husband. Tetrax opened another 2 chests of blue pints. This chest has medical reports, Sundance said, transporting the chest over to the ceiling area. 2 chests full of chakra metal, Tsunade said, and another 4 chests of there's chakra stones. What types? Her husband asked as he sealed them in the scrolls. One type is a leaf embedded into it, and the other are cyan gems with a flower in it, she replied. 5 chests full of golden rings, Tetrax said as he and Sundance carried them over. 3 chests full of golden coins. Tsunade yelled out, "This kid is fuck minted," she yelled as she hauled the chests over. A chest full of green gems, Sundance said as she hovered over. Another 12 chests of those chakra stones, one dark purple with some smoke in it, and the other is made of some green glass, Tetrax said, dragging over the next 2 chests. 6 chests of more golden coins, Sundance said as she, Tsunade, and Tetrax carried the chests over. A chest of stones, Tetrax said as he got another chest. 5 chests full of tablets, Tsunade said, dragging 2 chests the same size as her as Tetrax and Sundance got the others. Another chest full of blueprints, Sundance said as she dropped the chest over to Jiraiya. 3 chests full of ore, Tetrax said. 11 chests full of rings and other jewelry, Tsunade said as the chests were being sealed. 5 chests full of blue stones with bubbles in it, Sundance said, hovering the chests over. 3 chests full of taijutsu scrolls, Tetrax said. 5 chests full of green chakra stones with lightning bolts, Tsunade said as she lofted the chest over to her husband. 5 chests full of chakra stones that are in the shape of a sun, Sundance yelled as she carried the chest over. 2 chests full of diamonds, Tsunade said as carried the chest over. 14 chests of marble of many different colors, Tetrax said as they lofted all the chests over. 2 chests of chakra stones made of ice, Sundance called over. For chest full of red stone with fire in them, Tsunade said as she dragged the chests over. The last 8 are just full of more money, Tetrax called as he dragged the last of the chests over. After all the cheats were sealed, Jiraiya put both of the scrolls in his ninja pouch. Group 2 at the same time. Hiruzen, Rin, Sajira, and Shizunade started to seal all of the money that was in the well, and once it was all sealed with Sajira doing some maths, it turned out the amount of money that was in the well was 54 trillion. 307 1 billion. 30 million. 400,000. And 11 Ryu. Group 3 at the same time. The final group was going now, the weapons sealing them up. Final amount was shocking. 9 million shuriken. 9 million Fuma shuriken. 45,000 kunai. 45,000 kunai blades. 96 million explosive tags. 96 million smoke bombs. 48 million explosive tag balls. 94 chakra blades. 99 puppets. 3 altering terrain diagram scrolls. 36 axes. 96 million barrier tags. 96 million chakra suppressing tags. 97 bells. 54 binding cloth. 67 bows. 829 arrows. 67 crossbows. 829 crossbow bolts. 6 bubble utilizing pipes. 95 chakra cannons. 88 chakra enhanced triple-bladed claws. 6 cleaver sword. 19 clubs. 50 Deiko S. Ninty maces. 96 eye scopes, 74 fishing rods, 9,000 flashbangs, 9 giant folding fans, 2 handheld kunai launchers, 97,000 ice bombs, 66, 72 johio, 7 knight swords, 2 million makibishi, 77 spears, 400 scalpels, 9 million senbon, 6 snowboards, 6 surfboards, 66 tonfa, 9 scyths, 19 umbrellas, 17 whips, 9,000 weights, 9 enormous reals of wire strings, 11 staffs, 50 finger claws, 50 claw gauntlets, 70 warhammers, 90 shields, 99 flails, 18 chakraham, 7 raipurs, 12 nunchucks, 45,000 daggers, 45,000 cutlets, 70,000 tridents, 7 flutes, land of whirlpools, inertance of Yuzushiogakyure. Outside the gates of Yuzu stood 11 women in robes with different color hair. The first woman in a purple and blue cloak, a black and gold top that covered her breasts, baggy pants with a black and gold skirt. She has tan skin with black hair and dreadlocks. Around her neck was a golden necklace. The next is a woman that has golden armor over her chest with a red filly cloth that goes around her chest. She wore a red skirt with gold around the waist, golden sandals on. She had a helmet on in the shape of a bird with a red feather sticking out the top. She also had tan skin. The next is a young girl in a white dress with a pink rabbit-like hat on. She had white boots on with a golden trident. She has fair skin and silver hair as well as eyes and the air of innocence around her. The next woman in a blue and pink outfit. She has blue boots and a small blue staff. She had fair skin and blonde hair with grey eyes. The next woman has silvery blue hair with blue eyes. She wore a brown dress with a silver dragon on it, and she was glaring at a woman with onyx hair that had a red tint with crimson eyes, as she also wore a brown dress with a black dragon on it. As she glared back, she had tan skin. In contrast, the one with silvery blue hair has fair skin. The next one had brown hair with medium skin and yellow eyes. She wore a revealing silver dress that trailed purple. The next one wore black Mayan-style clothing, and she had silver eyes with brown hair and tan skin. She wore a long black gloves, and she held a large staff that had a demonic mask. The next is a woman in a revealing red outfit with wings on her back. She was next to a girl with blue hair and brown eyes. The girl wore a pink kimono with a black sash, and she also had an air of innocence but an air danger. The next is a teenager with brown eyes and hair. She had a green jumper on with black shorts along with a tan clock. She also had a staff with crystals sticking out of it. Along with the woman, there was a small white humanoid cat and chipmunk with wings and a horn. "What happened here?" the blue-haired girl asked. "A war. The woman that is leading them as they Jidal Haya find life," she said. Hold out her hands as they light up as they showed the vault of Yuzu. "There is life in there," she told them, pointing to the vault. "So Batet, what do you think is going on with the devil?" the one with Mayan clothing asked. "I think that it's the ancient law, Supi," the now identified Batet answered as they walked forward. "Miss," the girl with blue hair called. "Yes, hatchling." Beastit turned to her. The girl pointed as a lizard man with a chainsaw was running in the direction of the vault. So they all ran to get it. "Kokwendon, black flame blast," the woman with crimson eyes called as she spat out a massive blast of red and black flames at the lizard. Rung out, destroying most of the buildings. "Trinity, don't destroy the Arya," Supa yelled as she gathers blue and silver energy in her staff and yelled, "I Petlamasai, Moonblast," and shot out a beam of light that hit it, knocking it down, making it skid to a stop. "Harobai no Basudo Sutorimu," burst stream of destruction. The woman with silvery blue hair shoot out a blast of lighting at the downed reptile. "Baraku Beningu, black burn, / Ringo Bakudan, apple bomb." The one in the blue and pink shot out a blast dark electrical energy, while the one in the reveling red outfit threw massive red apple at the chainsaw-wielding lizard man. "Stay out of this," yelled the lizard as it turned to the magic users. As it was about to jump at them, a Fuma shuriken sails over from the vault and cuts into the cheek of the lizard man. "Rias, what we dealing with?" a male voice rang out as the magic users could see 7 humans and a being made of crystal ran out of the vault. Well, it's the arm-kite lizard man, the red-haired girl that was now identified as Rias. So then an older man with white hair went Thursday hand seals and called out, Sugoi Sekibin, great stone tablet. A massive stone slab juts out of the ground. The bold boy they were there turned his watch to a hologram of a creature of some slime and slammed it down. Naruto cloths, skin, muscles and bones turned into a red slime before he drops into a puddle and some of the slime glows making a flame design. As a small UFO flies over the pool, it turns into a humanoid slime with the black flame design moving to the feet goop. It yells in a synthesized voice. What the? The girl in the white dress asked, watching the red goo fly at the lizard man, whose cheek was fully healed, along with a girl with 2 purple rectangles on her cheeks pull out a weapon and started shooting the reptile. The name's Rin no Era, soon to be Senju Namikaze Uzumaki. The girl said, shooting the lizard, sending it back. The woman with pigtails is Tsunade Senju Namikaze, and the man that summoned the stone slab is Jiraiya Namikaze, her husband. The woman with black hair is Shizun Kato Senju Namikaze, their adopted daughter. The old man with the monkey staff is Hyuzun Sarutobi, their sensei. She was saying before throwing a lighting dagger at the lizard. The red goo is Naruto Senju Namikaze Uzumaki Mai, and that red-haired devil Rias Gremory. Finally, the Petrosapian is Tetrax. She continued before throwing a lighting grenade and moving away. Hai no Torai Hitama, Firebird Fireball. The woman in gold amour gathered a golden fire in her hand and threw it at the lizard, but it threw a grenade at her that sent her and 2 other magic users. They were ready to hit the hard ground, but they felt something soft and liquid. You okay? The liquid asked as they could as the 3 looked. It was the red slime that was named Naruto. Are magna virtutis signa det best I am. Lucant super me. Obelisk omnipotens prohibere retro atca tergo. Comminuet ad fligit me inimicus. Slifer versus eram miseriter. Ptolemy signum hoc monstrum. O great Ra, grant me strength to seal this beast. Shine upon me. Almighty obelisk, stop this monster. Crush my enemy. Gracious Slifer, strike them. Empower me. Seal this monster. The girl called Rias chanted as demonic energy raced to the armor knight lizard man, dragging it slowly to the tablet. Mertaken ki bumi, Marie Madad Karo. Mui ise seal Karain main Sahayata Karen. Main 3 Budamanan ko Balada Hun. Main 3 Sharveahan esi Puchhata Hun. Land of the dead, help me know. Aid me into sealing this. I call in the 3 wise men. I ask the 3 shepherds. Beast it chanted as chains made of bone wrapped around the lizard man. Hit it as hard as you can, Supi yelled at them all. Naruto, after getting up, slapped the dial on his chest and turned into a walking magma and fire creature with a clock made of crimson lava with hardened magma in the form of flames at the bottom. He thrust out his hands, shooting a stream of fire. Kokwenden, black flame blast. Trinity yelled, shotting the same black and red fireball. Kurosu Bobby, cross Barbie. The girl in the white dress yells, and she plants the trident in the ground, sending out a golden cross at the lizard man. Tenryu no Hoko, sky dragons roar. The girl with blue hair yelled as she shot out a tornado from her mouth. Baraku Beningu, black burn. The woman in blue and pink send a dark electrical orb at the reptile. Harobai no Basudo Sutorimu, burst stream of destruction. The woman with silvery blue hair shoot out one more blast of lighting. I Pitlamasai, moon blast. Supi called, firing another blast. Vandbur, water drill. The woman in the very revealing dress sends out a drilling spear of water. Aparadama, apple ball. The woman in the red outfit sent an orb of red energy at the creature. Piaggia crystallina, crystal rain. The teen with brown hair and eyes turns the dust around her into bits of crystal and fires it at her target. Hai no Torikes, firebird wind. The woman in God yelled as in both her hands golden flames shoot out and join the other attacks. Talking about the attacks that all seemingly merge and form a dragon that hits the lizard man and throws it into the stone slab, sealing it. After Jiraiya sealed the stone tablet in a sealing scroll that held the wicked Dreadroot, he turned to the woman that just turned up. So who are you? He asked. I am Beastit, the Gravekeeper's spiritualist, Beastit informed him. I am Supi Dustwalker, Supi said as she long with, and the 2 women glaring at each other is Trish, she points to the woman with crimson eyes, and Kazara, she points at the with silvery blue hair. I am Sister Balak of the 3 Holy Sisters. The young girl in a white dress with the pink rabbit hat said. Iris V, the hand of Nephthys, the woman in gold armor replied. Mana's the name, Magic's the game, the woman in blue and pink replied bubbly. And this is my little sister T, she added as she hugged the woman in the red outfit. My name is Sasha, the woman in the reveling white and purple dress said in a majestic voice. Hi, I'm Asa. And this is Alvin, she stuttered as she pets the chipmunk on her shoulder. I'm Wendy, and this is Carla, the girl with blue hair said as the humanoid cat just folds her arms. Well, it's nice to meet you, the toad sage responded as he got up and, well, you already know us, so what are you? He asked. We are magic users, and we have to ask the devil why she is here. Sunday answered, do you know why? She asked. She was forced into a marriage, that so she ran away, Jiraiya informed them. What about the shadow beasts? Kazara asked. To drag her back to him even now that she is now Naruto's betrothed. He told them as he started walking back to the vault but stopped. Do any of you have to marry his because of the ancient law? Yes and no, Beastit said. So Isis, Mana and Asa. He started but were cut off. I have to because my instinct tells me that he is my mate. Wendy, Trish and Kazara said as one. Me and my sisters share everything, Mana said as she hugged T. I would like to be with him, Blanc said. As a gravekeeper, I must find a powerful partner to have children with, and he irradiates power, Beastit stated. He is the sun and I am the moon. I need to be with him, Supi told him, placing her hands on her hips. Lady Magic is telling me I must have him, Sasha said. The only male Sannin looked at the magic users and just shook his head and led them into the vault and yelled out, Naruto, you lucky bastard. You have 11. 14, Mana told him. 14 more wives, Jiraiya amended as he got back to selling books. Well, that's just great, Naruto said as he was still heat blast. So he was sitting on the rim of the well. He turned to Rias as she was reading a book. What you reading? He asked. I'm trying to find out the origin of your clan, she answered as she filed a page. So far all I've been reading is the tale of a man called Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Naruto, that name, Kurama said in a shaky voice. What is it, Kurama? Naruto asked him as he timed out. That is the name of my father, he stated, shocking Naruto and all of the ones that live in Naruto. He is the Rakuto Sannin. Kurama just told me that, Naruto told them as he got up and walked shakily over to Rias. What? Tsunade asked. The name Rias just said is the Rakuto Sannin, Naruto told them all. This was like a bomb had been dropped, and so Rias started going over all the book near her as Naruto joined her. 5 hours later. After going now and then sealing over 4 million books they know had the origin of the Uzumaki clan. The Rakuto Sannin had 2 sons. The eldest son Indra Otsutsuki. The younger son Azura Otsutsuki. Indra had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Azura also had 2 children but had 2 sons. Indra's son formed the Uchiha clan, and it hated the clan of the eldest of Azura's children, the Senju. But Indra's daughter and Azura's son fell in love, and the child has given the Rinnegan and crimson hair. Indra banished his daughter while Azura expected them, and they lived on a large island that would be known as the Land of Whirlpools and the clan called Uzumaki. The love of the Senju, Tsunade said, have to sit down after all the information sank in. The skill of the Uchiha, Hiruzen added. Along with the spirit of the sage, Rin said as she tried to catch her breath. My clan was the first true clan, Naruto said as he too was having trouble keeping it all in. Naruto started turning the Omnitrix to his last alien and slammed down. Naruto's skin started to turn white as he shrunk to 4 square feet. Earphones line thing appeared over his ears and connected to his back. The glow of the traveler shined around him. As it died, it showed a crimson and orange jacket with white around the rim with black flame design on it, and with a yell of "Echo, Echo," it was done. Naruto then slit himself into 25 copies of himself, and they all ran out into the village. What he doing? Trish asked. I don't know, all but Beastit said. I think that he is getting something to use as a grave marker and the names of his dead clansmen, she said, watching as the forms of Naruto disappear. After 3 hours of waiting, they could see Naruto walking back to them with a scroll clutched in his right hand. You ready? He asked everyone, and they nodded. And they set off back to Konoha. Land of Fire, Konoha Gate, 2.5 days later. After they had been seen into the gate, Hiruzen's blood clone walked up, and the original cut his palm, and the clone returned to the original, and the memories of the last 2 days filters thou. Well, they have made your clan compound and have decided on the number of wives you can have for CRA, he said to Naruto. How many? Isis ached. No minimum and unlimited, he said. I can have, he started. Yes, the Kage said, walking to the westmost point of Konoha. Land of Earth, Valley of the Damned. The man with the spider tattoo sat on a rock surrounded by dead bodies. One was still alive, and this one was the members of the Magic Council. Still not a challenge, he scoffed. Yami no Jubaku, Curse of Darkness? The dying voice of the councilman as chains of darkness wrapped around the man. I know that won't hold you forever, but it will hold for a couple of years, he said as he drew a final breath and passed on. R.A. The man yelled as he was dragged into the darkness, swearing to return. Soul System, Planet Earth, Land of Fire, Konoha, Konoha Graveyard. Flying over the graveyard was 7 ghosts flying over the graves, scanning the graves to find their ninja, or as they were calling them, guardian. Where are you? A ghost that has a red crystal lion asked as fly into the Uchiha graves and scanned. There you are, he said as it phased into a grave marked Madara Uchiha. As the ghost got closer, it could feel the pull of darkness to the person that he chose. This is not good, he said as he got to the body. He could feel that it was split in two. A dark side that wanted death and destruction and a light side that wanted redemption. The body is slit, he hummed as light started to pour out of him, cleansing the room of all darkness, with bast of the body being removed from the room as well. Now to make a new body, but I need to be careful, he told himself as the body started to be reformed. That's not supposed to be there, he said as a face appeared on the body's chest. It was destroyed after a few hours of trying to fix the body. He almost gives up. Every time I make him male, that this corrupts him, he voiced out loud before getting an idea. Grow those there, as 2 mounts grow from the chest during into breasts, and take that off and remove those and make that, and then the body started to become more feminine. All done, he said as all the light was exported into him. It washed over the body as it jolted up. Guardian, you there, Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian, he said as the now female looked around. What the? She started but stopped as she heard her voice. Why is my voice feminine? She asked. You were in the tight grip of darkness, he said as he floated down to eye level. Your body was getting drawn into darkness, so I had to rewrite your body's makeup and make you a woman, he told her. I see, she responded as she looked over her body as clothes materialized around her. They both heard with a muffled voice called. The grave was open, showing a young man with bold hair walking down and stood in front of the now female Madara Uchiha. Ma'am, why are you in the grave of Madara Uchiha? He asked before he noticed the ghost. Ghost, who is this? This is Madara Uchiha, the ghost said. I have to change the gender and genetic makeup of him to make her. I see, the bold boy muttered. Follow me, please, he told her as he walked out as Madara and her ghost followed. Who are you? Madara asked. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, he told her as they left the grave. As Madara gazed over the Uchiha, she could see thousands of graves and with only one Uchiha boy. So my memories are right, she stated, saddened. About what her ghost said. The darker half of me ordered my great-great-grandson to wipe out the Uchiha, she said as she could see 2 Uchiha walking up to her with ghosts. The first ghost is white with gold ED accents with a golden core. The woman with the ghost is in a black dress. She has long raven black hair with E-cup breasts. She also had pale skin like all Uchiha. The second ghost was a pale sandy color, and alongside it was a man with short black hair, and he wore black clothing with a katana on his back. Naruto, a older male voice yelled, and everyone turned to a man that looked in his 20s wearing the Hokage robes. With him are 3 women and 3 ghosts. The first one has a blue crystal snake wrapped around it. Alongside is a woman that Madara knew very well with her white hair, with piercing red eyes along with red markings on her cheeks and chin. Pale skin with black clothing and dark blue amour. She was Tobium Senju. The second woman had long red hair with a long white kimono. On her forehead is a small purple diamond. She is the former queen of the Whirlpool's Mito Uzumaki. The ghost with her was a dark gray with gold ED accents. The final woman had long brown hair, brown eyes, black clothing with red armor. Her ghost had a yellow crystal falcon with the ghost core. Cave 1 mile from Konoha. A ghost that has a camouflage floated into thee as it scanned a body after body before it, and it raised a young bout with brow hair. The boy had green eyes with sharp teeth. He wore a dull green robe with a muddy brown cloak, wooden geta, and bandages on his head and wrists, with a purple headband. "Don't panic," the ghost said in a female voice. "I brought you back to life." "Why?" the boy asked. "You were needed," was all she said. "Follow me," she told him in a soft voice. Forests 3 miles from Konoha. A red and white with a wreath design ghost was flew thou the forest, and it revived a man that looked like the Hyuga clan head. Valley 4 miles from Iwa. A red/brown ghost flew to a wooden cross over a grave, and it revived a blonde woman, and she looked at the ghost. Konoha Uzumaki compound. Naruto with a lot of people that were sitting in his living room. Naruto was going over all of the blueprints. Tsunade was going over the recipe to make someone powerful and the vials of blood. Shizune was looking over all the medical reports. Jiraiya looked over all of the weapons. Tetrax looked over the crystals. Rin was reading some of the books that they had. Batet was going over to all the magic book. Mana looked over the wooden stick that Naruto had found in the Lake of Monsters. Iris was counting all the golden rings. Blanc was looking at the mirror, the massive key, the golden key, the pen with the glowing nib, chest of lenses, the scarf makes of scales, the ring with makings on it, the helmet with wings, and reading the book on automail. Kazara was looking over both the eggs. Trish was reading the book on dragons. Sasha was looking over both pieces of armor. Supi was putting all the money in the clan money vault. T was putting all the food, spices, and drink along with the recipes away. Wendy was looking over both maps. Asa was going over all the chakra stones. Rias was looking over the 3 scrolls of ancient writing. And Carla was going over all the liquids. "What you all doing?" Mito asked. "We are looking over all the things I had found both in the Yuzu Vault and the Lake of Monsters," Naruto answered. "Well, bro," Sister Tobium said, turning to the brown-haired woman. "Why are you a woman?" she asked. "It's the same as Madara," she answered. "Other than the gender, I'm still Hashirama," she stated. Naruto looked at one of the blueprints, and it looked like a motorbike that hovered over the ground. "This could be good on wide-open areas," Naruto muttered to himself before looking at the other blueprints. "So what can you all do?" Hashirama asked. "I can use moon magic," Supi answered as she walked into the room taking the chest full of taijutsu scrolls and started organizing them. "I use spirit magic," Batet said as she read the book in her hand and put it down. "I use the magic of the great Nephthys," Iris stated as she counted rings. "I use holy magic," Blanc called as she was examined the massive key and turned to Naruto. "This is a maker's key." "Maker's key?" he asked her. "The makers created maker's keys to aid in the creation of their constructs. It takes a fragment of the soul of its user and inserts it into the body of a construct, acting as a conduit for the transfer and bringing the being of stone to life," she told him. "I use ancient magic and this asterisk," she old up the stick. "Asterisk is the most powerful wand in existence," Mana said before she gave it to Naruto and opened the chest full of balls, and then closed it once more and yelled to the magic users, "Quidditch balls." "I use the magic of the blue/red eyes white/black dragon," Kazara and Trish said before throwing daggers at each other. "Want to go?" Trish yelled as one of the eggs started glowing. "Bring it, bitch," as the other egg glowed as well. Before long, a loud crack was heard and both eggs hatched. From one egg hatched small black dragon with penetrating yet innocent red eyes, and the other was a little white dragon with hunter's eyes. The black dragon met eyes with Trish, as did the white dragon met Kazara before they cried, "Mana, mother." And both women turned from women in their early teens to mothers looking after their children. "I use blue mana," Sasha called as she made sands for the armor and examined the jewel with 2 stars in it. "I use apple magic," T called as she turned a page. "I use sky dragon slayer magic," Wendy said as look at the maps in front of her and map of the ninja world to see where they fit. "I use earth magic," Asa told them shyly as she moved all the chakra stones into the weapon vault. "I can turn into aliens and like you lot can use the light of the traveler," Naruto said as he started taking apart the robot arms and eyes. "I have the power of destruction," Rias as she looked over the scrolls and said, "There's our chance of 3 of the most powerful shadow beasts," she told them as she put them in the room they used for the shadow beasts. "I'm an exceed from the planet Idolas," Carla said as she looked over the liquid and said, "Some healing potion, poison from acromantula and liquid luck," she said, naming off the things that she was looking at before picking up and going over the summoning contract. I'm the last Petrosapian, Tetrax said, taking all the precious stones and taking the marble and fitting it in the kitchen. I see, Hashirama said as she talked to her sister to see that her sister was reading the Tales of Six Paths. See this, she turned to her best friend looking over all the fire jutsu scrolls. Turning to her wife looking all the sealing scrolls and seals. She turned to her granddaughter to see her examining the medical reports, while Tsunade's husband was going over all the water jutsu scrolls. She finally got it and picking up the scroll with the Sharingan sealed in it and put them in the Uzumaki clan vault. As they was getting thou all of the things that Naruto has had, the Uchiha clan head burst into the room with her son's best friend. That no good son of mine, Mikoto yelled as she walked up to her sensei. What did you son do? Tsunade asked to her former student as she read the medial reports. He wants to kill Izum because he killed the clan even after I told him about the Uchiha coup d'etat, Mikoto said, getting the attention of the former head of Uchiha and Hokage. Why did the plan an Uchiha coup d'etat? Madara asked her. Because we were blamed for the Kyuubi Kurama attacking Konoha, Mikoto said as Naruto interrupted her by telling his tailed beast's name. And Uchiha did, Rin said as she turned the page of her book. Obito Uchiha survived, my evil side got to him. Corrupted him, Madara added as she finished her book and looked at the glove with golden veins. Find out Rin was killed by Kakashi, Tsunade added, finishing the medical reports and started looking at the cube of blue glass and gold. Found out that Kushina was giving birth. Jiraiya continued, going over another 100,000 jutsu scrolls. Killed the nurses and Bawako Sarutobi before using me as an incentive to unseal Kurama from her, Naruto said as he put the paintings up. Sensei and the fuckwit fought, Shizune added, going now a book on grooming. And you know the rest, all the ninjas said at the same time. Konoha, Sarutobi clan, main Biljuing. Hiruzen was sitting in his sitting room with Sajira was reading a book and another ghost flew into the room. The ghost was white with some orange and flowing behind it was a woman with brown hair, and tan skin walked in. Honey, I'm home, she said. Biwako, the Hokage weakly said and moved to kiss his wife that have been brought back. Uchiha clan compound. A dark gray-haired boy was walking to the main building with his is a white ghost with a blue snake design on it and knocked on the door. Coming, a male voice called, and once the door was opened, the boy decked the person that opened the door before seemingly teleporting away. Konoha Uzumaki compound. Everyone that was done gone now, all the thing that was from the Lake of Monsters and Yuzu vault. Everyone was going to bed with the people that was just risen raying up. What do we do? Hashirama asked. Well, you two are known women, Mito pointed out, and so I have an idea, she said. What? Tobium asked. We get with the prince, Madara said. What? The siblings said to each other. Think about it. I mean, what do we have here? Mito asked before smiling. I love my husband, I like men more, she joked. We have Tsuna, the first Hokage said. She's married, Madara, but in Konoha needs. She spoke. They have Sarutobi, Mito added. We're 100+ years older than him, Tobium argued. We are rejuvenated, Mito said, shooting down her argument. The sisters turned quiet after that as they knew that they were beaten, but Hashirama asked something that she was wondering for a while now. Why have we risen? Konoha, next day, Uzumaki compound. It was a peaceful day, and everyone was having a lay-in. Well, that was until the two baby dragons woke up. Rhea, they cried. So much for sleep, Naruto said, gazing at his bedroom ceiling. He got up and fully dressed in his clothes. He went to have breakfast had he saw the most hilarious thing Naruto has ever seen. Around the table was the three Uchiha drinking tea like civilized people as the first and second Hokage having a cat fight underneath the table. Kakashi crying as he ate pancakes saying, Obito why? The baby dragon was fight over a slice of bacon while Trish and Kazara were fighting over a sausage. Rin had both hand cannons in her hands with a slice of toast in her mouth as the hand cannon in her right hand pointed at Shizune as she tried to steal the coffee from her, while hand cannon in Rin's left hand at Mana trying to take the food from her and T's plate. T was yelling at her sister to bite me, Blondie. Supi had jumped on Batet for taking her drink. Asuma Satobi and Kurinai Yuhi were yelling at each other as Hana Inazuka was strangling Might Guy while her dogs, Karamaru and Akamaru was fighting over the meat. Sum Inazuka was yelling my food. Kiba Inuzuka was running after Alvin, breaking the plates. Wendy was growling at Carla as she hissed back. Blanc was meditating, as was Iris, who was on fire. Asa was pouring a flask full of some alcohol in a cup of coffee. Rias and Sasha was walking around nude. Both the Sannin and Mito was drinking sake, muttering about at the noise. Tetrax was embedded in a wall. A blonde girl was eating on a ceiling alongside a woman with purple hair. Hyuzen and his wife as talking to their grandson as their daughter Mimi Sarutobi was arguing with Anko Mitarashi. Tenma Izumo was yelling at a cyan-haired girl. All the ghosts was flying around chasing the ghost of Madara because it was hitting on Kushina and Sajira while R2 was following them around. "What the hell?" Naruto yelled before bursting into laughter. Everyone turned to him and at the same time yelled at him. "It's not what it looks like." Hell, Gremory Mansion. Lord and Lady Gremory was sitting in their sitting room waiting for someone. "Mother, father," a man with crimson hair called as he walked in as a maid with silver hair walked in behind him. "Why have you called me?" he asked. "Your sister is getting married to a human," Lord Gremory said. "I see," he said as the flames made the image of the Uzumaki clan compound eating room showing all the things that were happening. "So what do you want me to do?" he asked. "Fix this," Lady Gremory stated as she looked at the people in the eating room. "Surzex, can't you know that, Lady Venelana?" the maid said as she looks at the Sean before her. "Grafia, I just want my family to live on," Venelana said sadly. "I know, mother, but please think," Surzex said as he looked at his mother. "Why did she leave?" he asked. "We forced her to marry someone 3 times her age," Lord Gremory said, looking at his feet. "So what does that tell you?" Grafia asked. "We force her to do something that she would rather die or marry a human than do," Venelana answered. "So Lord Zeoticus, what do you do?" Grafia asked. "We invite them here to meet our new son-in-law," Zeoticus said as he raised his head to look his son in the eyes. "Yes, Surzex," he said, smiling as they looked at the scene of everyone in the Yuzu compound laughing.